If you've ever ordered industrial grade suction cups from Amazon, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. It is Thursday, May 1st. That's right, it's the first of the month here, so I guess we're expecting inflows. And y'all be excited because world didn't end yesterday. And we back. And we're going to break that stuff down. I had a slew of earnings here. The fake news is just at it again. When will they stop? Nobody knows. We're going to break it down. We're going to get you all set for today's session. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook for Thursday, May 1st starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It is great to see a whole bunch of returning faces, and I'm just absolutely thrilled. The last time we were together here, folks, the market was really plummeting, started to bounce a little bit. No one really believed it. Thought, oh my God, there's a whole bunch of trouble coming, and there isn't. And here we are. Here we are today. Great to see everyone back here. Kayla, good morning. Great to see you again. Brett, hello. Good morning. Pete, good Microsoft morning. Microsoft and Meta carrying the day here today, and it is indeed a good morning here. Yassine, good morning. It's great to see you again. Couch Potato, good morning. Thoughts on MSTR? Yassine, let me add MSTR here. I kind of think that just off the top here, I kind of think Bitcoin is making a bullish run here. I would not be surprised if MSTR follows. Good morning, Yassine. Paul, good morning. Welcome back. Hellcat, good morning. Bobby, good morning. The producer is locked in as always. A Lamb, good morning. Harris, SPY calls, debt calls, and hood calls looking good. Harris, let's go, dude. You're going to have a morning. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Let's go. Sergeant Sexy, good morning. Day Trader, locked in, good morning. White Chocolate Mocha, good morning. Gringo Loco, good morning and happy May. Indeed, it's May Day, the 1st of May. Happy May. Ralph, good morning. Yeah, so fine. Good morning. Let's make some money for the weekend. That sounds like a good idea to me. Let's do it. Terlingua, good morning. Happy Thursday. Captain Cloudy, Sebastian, Quantum, good morning. Cam, good morning. Rooster, Crimp Biscuit, Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. JJ, good morning. Good to talk to you on the phone. JJ, real quick, got a little kind of a funny story for you here. Sorry to digress a little bit, but when I was duplicating your request yesterday, I forgot to clear it. And I came back to my computer, and all of a sudden, I was getting these sound alerts, and I'm like, oh, JJ's going to be happy. We'll sync up on that in a little bit here. It was great to talk to you, though. Anthony, good morning. Great to see you again. Dermo, good morning. Great to see you again. Ivan, Graf, and Harley, good morning. And we are off. Let me go back to the SPY chart here. Away from the example that I had, we will load up the SPY chart and let's talk about all the stuff that's going on. Good morning, Dan. It is great to see you and everyone else that's here. All right, looking at the SPY chart. So yesterday, I know in the morning, it was selling off. In the morning, it was Biden's market, and in the afternoon, it was Trump's market. I kid. Don't come at me with pitchforks. But anyway, we were a little bit weak in the morning, and boy, oh boy, did we bounce. And the craziest part about that bounce is that after the bounce, we had some really good earnings, not the end of the world on some of those earnings. So that was really good to see. And now that we have all of that data put together, you have a chart here. You have a chart here that looks pretty good. All right, so here is yesterday's candle. You can see this actually looks like a hammer to me. 13 will fight me on it, but this looks like a hammer to me. And before the day actually finished, the head of this candle was actually a little bit smaller, so it didn't look like this giant sledgehammer. But basically, we ran up to that 552 level, which is that 10% pullback level. We kind of struggled to get above it a little bit. We kind of tested that. We sold off from that level here today, back down towards the trend line, although we never really tapped the trend line and touched it. And then we had a ferocious bounce and we had a run into the close, almost as if someone knew that some of these numbers were going to be good and they were trying to buy ahead of that. That's what it felt like to me. Not trying to start any conspiracy theories here, but that's sure what it felt like here to me. And then, of course, we traded higher there. Currently sitting at 561 here in the pre-market. Our high print of the pre-market here today was 562.07. S&P futures up 1.2% right now. Dow futures up almost 0.8%. And the NASDAQ screaming higher and leading the way higher, 1.84%. Again, that's going to be on the back of that Meta and that Microsoft report. The good news here with the SPY as well, now we've actually traded above that 50-day moving average. So what does that mean for key levels today? You folks guessed it. That is now going to be a key level to the downside. 557.46, it looks like, is going to be that level. We'll see if we can hold this 50-day today. We absolutely want several closes above this 50-day. Otherwise, it's basically just going to look like a bounce and a test of this level, and we'll need something else to get above it. Today is the biggest day for earnings. I know yesterday was kind of a wild one, but today is going to be even more wild after hours here. As a reminder, here's what we're looking at. We did have a number of reports here this morning, MasterCard, KKR, Lilly, which is down, actually might be a decent trade today. Lilly CEO was on CNBC earlier, and it sounded all good there. I know he's the CEO and chairman of the board, so of course it's going to sound good. But nonetheless, Lilly reported CVS, KKR, MasterCard, and Southern, if you're looking at any of that energy stuff. But the real show is going to be tonight. And Yassine's already thinking about it, asking about MicroStrategy. In addition to MicroStrategy, we got Apple, Amazon, Atlassian, Airbnb, and Motorola, if you care about that. Also Stryker, if you care about that. So huge earning reports. I like to use my favorite graphic for this. Brace yourselves, folks, because Apple earnings are indeed coming. They are coming this afternoon. So let me know if you have a trade for Apple. We're going to take a look at that. I'm sure today we're going to kind of break that down. I do have an article here for a preview for you. So we can go ahead and talk about that. But market looking really good here in terms of levels. We talked about the 557, 552, that 10% pullback level. That's also going to be a downside support that hopefully we don't test here today. Obviously, we filled the gap. Next level up here that I have that we should really be paying attention to, 567.75. We'll see if we can get there today. And then we've got 573 at that 200-day moving average. So all signs are go, I guess, or green or thumbs up or whatever. Right now, we'll see if that changes here. I will say, as far as a trade going into today, when I saw the run, like the big push up happening yesterday, yeah, my first thought was, okay, someone probably knows something about the earnings, but just on general principle from what we've seen here with the market, I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to buy some short instruments here just for tomorrow. So I ended up taking some of the 34.5 SQQQ calls that expire tomorrow. If this continues today, those calls are going to expire worthless, and that's okay. That's a hedge. We come back in, those calls should print pretty well. We should be in pretty good shape. But nice little morning here today. Now let's take a look at some of the news. I wanted to be very quick here. I kind of gave you my own breakdown here on the SPY. I just want to run through a couple of things here very quick. U.S. stock futures climbed early on Thursday and are still climbing by the looks of it, buoyed by strong earnings reports from two Magnificent Seven companies. So that's the other thing about the Mag 7 earnings here. After today, we are going to have every Mag 7 reported except for NVIDIA, which I believe reports on May 28th. I don't have the note in front of me, but I believe May 28th is correct. That's going to be Wednesday after hours. So we're going to have 6 of 7 Mag 7 names done after today. That should be a huge, binary event kind of out of the way here. While markets were rattled by the Commerce Department report of a 0.3 GDP contraction, we're going to cover that here in a sec as well. Good morning, Alex, Lion, Chuck, Strategically Optimistic, Charles, and anyone else that I missed. We're going to talk about that GDP scare that freaked everyone out that ended up not doing anything. Good morning, Wiss. In a sec here. Meta Platforms and Microsoft both topped earnings and revenue expectations, rising 6.63% and 7.4% in the pre-market trading, respectively. Meanwhile, Tesla slipped 0.5% in pre-market amid unverified rumors that the board was searching for a replacement for Elon Musk. Oh my God, the propaganda machine is working overtime, and it ain't working. Company, of course, denied that here. On Thursday, investors will be closely watching Apple, Amazon, MasterCard, and Airbnb. MasterCard already reporting this morning with high expectations following a series of strong performances over the past couple of days. Tell you what, you get more strong performances here. You get Apple with a strong number and them saying, yeah, we don't really care about the tariffs and we have plans. Look out. I'm just saying. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I am saying look out. U.S. 10-year treasuries are at 4.15%, while the 2-year treasuries are at 3.6%. Okay, so that's coming back in too. Wow, we really averted disaster. How did we do this? I don't know. So crazy. I wanted to get down here to one of Ryan Dietrich's stats here real quick. Ryan Dietrich, a chartered market technician, posted on X that markets shouldn't be overly worried about the first quarter GDP contraction, attributing the decline to companies front-loading imports to get ahead of the upcoming tariffs. Q1 GDP negative got the headlines this morning. Market responded to it. We watched it. We traded it. Some of us banked off of it, which makes me really proud, by the way, but that's as an aside. But much of that was due to inventories and companies buying ahead of tariffs. Final demand slowed, but it was fairly solid still. And the bottom line, the economy slowed ahead of the tariffs, but it is not a recession. There's a lot of people that don't want to hear that, but this is where we're at here. And here's this chart actually has some really good data in it too. Not going to sit here and poke through a chart. It's probably going to be hard to see for viewers anyway. So I'll just give you the link. You can do it on your own time. But Ryan Dietrich is basically quoting Sanu Verghese. I hope I pronounced that correct. I probably didn't. But in any case, a lot of really good info in there. Take a look at it. Dietrich notes the final demand has slowed, but it's still fairly solid. And the bottom line is that we are not in a recession. Here's some upcoming economic data that we should be ready for. On Thursday, initial jobless claims set to be released here at 8:30. We are, 18 minutes away from that print. S&P final U.S. manufacturing PMI for April will be released at 9:45. The market will be open for 15 minutes by then. We also have the ISM manufacturing construction spend for April and March, respectively. That's coming at 10. We'll be knee-deep in the show by then. And then auto sales figures will be announced during the day. There was no time specified for that. They did interview Mary Barra this morning on CNBC. She had a lot of good things to say. Phil LeBeau pressed her on a number of things. She seemed obviously prepared for that. So really, really awesome. Good stuff here so far. We'll see if this can actually continue here. Crude futures continue to touch new lows. All of this hysteria about inflation and this and that. And crude is at multi-year lows here. I can't believe how little I'm paying for gas, and it's fantastic. With the commodity down 2.3% in the early New York session trading, early New York session trading at 56.91 per barrel amid growing recession fears. Okay, let me talk about Elon. I kind of casually mentioned the fake news story. We should, at this point, we really even shouldn't be surprised. This is not going to be the last baloney news story we're going to see. Here's a look at the chart on Tesla. We're currently sitting at about 284. Yes, we held the back test of this trend line. That actually looks really good, especially with that candle there. Yes, we are beneath the 200-day. That's going to be one of the key levels here today. 292.04 is going to be one of those levels. We'll see if we can trade back above that. Let's get to the actual story here. Elon Musk and Tesla chair deny report of board exploring CEO replacement. What happened here? Tesla's board reportedly began searching for a successor to Elon Musk after the company faced significant financial setbacks. About a month ago, the board reached out to an executive search firms to formalize a process for selecting a new CEO. That was reported by the Wall Street Journal, by the way, citing people familiar with the discussion. Musk, who had led Tesla for nearly 2 decades, was reportedly spending considerable time in Washington, D.C., assisting with the Department of Government Efficiency under President Trump. Musk did not push back. The report said, and the board told him we needed to devote more time to Tesla and publicly commit to doing so. Following the publication of the report, Tesla official X handle looked to social media and said that the assertion that the board reached out to a recruitment firm is false. Quote, the CEO of Tesla is Elon Musk, and the board is highly confident in his ability to continue executing on the exciting growth plan ahead. And that came from Robin Denholm. Hopefully I pronounced that name correctly. Here is the tweet itself. Musk also took to X and shared Tesla's post and adding, quote, it is an extremely bad breach of ethics at the Wall Street Journal. I'm surprised, and I'm used to hearing that about the Washington Post or the New York Times, but an extremely bad breach of ethics that the Wall Street Journal would publish a deliberately false article and fail to include an unequivocal denial beforehand by the Tesla board of directors. So Elon Musk holding nothing back here, absolutely going after it. The Journal did not immediately respond to our request for comments. Yeah, probably not going to hear from them. Tesla reported first quarter revenue of $19.34 billion, marking a 9% decline compared to the previous year. This figure fell short of the street's consensus estimate of $21.35. During the earnings call, Musk announced, starting probably next month, my time allocation at Doge will drop significantly. So again, just kind of repeating that. On Wednesday, Alexander Mers, who is one of Tesla's shareholders, took to X, formerly Twitter, and said Tesla filed an amendment to its annual 10-K providing details about the board and executive compensation rather than the anticipated proxy statement with shareholder meetings dates and agendas. This suggests a possible delay in the meeting. So we'll see what happens here. Again, just kind of going back to the price action. I had the Tesla chart up the whole time. Well, that's okay. Looking back at the Tesla chart, one of the things that we really want to focus on today is, does this break above the 200? We've been taking a look at the 200 for a lot of these different stocks, whether it's news related, numbers related, or otherwise. A couple of closes above this 200 would really kind of set the stage here for Tesla, and that would also continue to show that the bottom is likely in. And we'll see if we end up getting that here. All right, so that was that. Let's go back here. Now, here's a fun story. Let's talk about this. Gary Black, we've quoted here quite a bit. Gary Black's been doing this a long time. Really, really sharp guy. Wall Street CEOs pulls the Trump tariff card. Is macro fear the new excuse for weak guidance? Ask the leading fund manager. What's going on here? As macro uncertainty and President Trump's tariffs become the go-to scapegoats for CEOs this earnings season, fund manager Gary Black isn't buying it. On Tuesday, Black posted on X citing former Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel's famous quote, "Never let a crisis go to waste," end quote, as he accused CEOs of using tariffs and economic uncertainty as cover during earnings seasons to justify either pulling or scaling back their 2025 guidance. You don't say. Who would have seen this coming? Black finds it all the more absurd that companies that have nothing to do with imported goods are now blaming the Trump tariffs for their underperformance. I'm sorry, I'm really trying to hold back the laughter here, but this is just too rich and compelling. He then highlights such companies as General Motors, United Parcel Service, and Spotify Technologies, all companies that released their earnings on Tuesday, all three of them citing tariff-related uncertainties with their guidance for the full year. While General Motors and UPS have at least some cover to lay the blame on the macroeconomic headwinds, Spotify, a music streaming service, doesn't. Gary Black, the founder of the Future Fund LLC, has been critical of the tariffs for quite some time, predicting a cut in spending by businesses and consumers several weeks ago. He's also been at the forefront of predicting a recession early last week, again laying the blames at tariffs and the related uncertainty. Dan Ives of Wedbush, too, had predicted early this month that most companies will not offer guidance for the full year during the first quarter earnings call, once again citing the unpredictability and the macro environment. So, as I've been saying for a while, I'm not entirely certain how this is going to shake out. I am absolutely a glass half full guy, and I will remain that way. I enjoy life way too much to simply walk around negative all day long. I'm just not going to do it. Happiness is a choice, and I've made my choice. So I'm going to keep being glass half full. I don't know how this stuff is going to end, but I suspect it's not going to be the gloom and doom that we keep hearing all of the time. I'm just going to lay that out there, and I'm going to trade accordingly. Now, let's actually talk about one of the stocks that reported earnings here today. Who had Meta last night? Who is still holding Meta? Who traded it into the earnings print? Who is going to have a good morning here with Meta? I don't like this company very much, but man, oh man, the stock's been an absolute monster. There's really just no way around it. And part of me is wondering here, I'm starting to use the Mark Petrino box strategy that he kind of talked about the last couple of weeks, where see if you actually get a little bit of that price discovery and a possible bottoming spot. Here's the deal with Meta. We have a Meta sitting right here at the 50, right? We're actually above the 50 technically by 86 cents. We are above the 50-day moving average, but this gap higher on earnings brings us out of this little box formation that we have and also brings us above the 200 days. So can we get a close above that 200 day? That would be juicy. Better still if we could get a close above the 200 and the 50, which are trying to converge and trying to flash that death cross signal. We'll see if we end up getting it. Let's take a look at the actual numbers themselves. Meta reported its first quarter financial results after the close on Wednesday. Here's a look at some of the key details. Meta reported first quarter revenue of $42.31 billion, beating analyst estimates of $41.39 billion. The company reported first quarter earnings of $6.43 per share, easily beating analyst estimates of $5.21 per share. According to data from Benzinga Pro, Meta exceeded analyst estimates on the top and bottom lines in 9 straight quarters. Just like I said, this thing's been an absolute monster. Despite me not liking it, it is a monster. Total revenue in the first 3 months of the year was up 16% on a year-over-year basis. Family daily active people climbed 6% year over year to 3.43 billion. Ad impressions jumped 5% year over year, and average price per ad increased 10% year over year. So we were talking with 13 about some of these companies that have, ad exposure. What does that mean? What's going on? What's going forward here? It looks like Meta hitting on all cylinders here. Operating margins totaled 41%, up 38% from the prior year's quarter. Cost and expenses came in at $24.76 billion, up 9% year over year. Capital expenditures, including principal payments on finance leases, came in at $13.69 billion. The company ended the quarter with $70.23 billion in cash equivalents, and marketable securities. Meta noted its headcount was up 11% year over year to 76,834 people as of March 31st. Quote, "We've had a strong start to an important year. Our community continues to grow and our business is performing very well. We're making good progress on AI glasses and Meta AI, which now has almost 1 billion monthly actives." Zuck, please make me the glasses that track my golf shots and automatically read the green slope for me. Please make that. Please, that would really, really help my golf game. Meta expects full year 2025 expenses to be in the range of 113 to 118 billion, down from prior guidance of 114 to 119. It's actually a little bit of a slip there on the guidance. Meant nothing. Meta screamed higher here. This updated outlook reflects additional data center investments to support our artificial intelligence efforts, as well as an increase in the expected cost infrastructure hardware. Company said in the earnings release, quote, "In addition, we continue to monitor an active regulatory landscape, including legal and regulatory headwinds in the EU and the US that could significantly impact our business." So again, who traded Meta? Who is going to trade Meta going forward? Does this help? Does anyone think that the near-term bottom for Meta is in? Is this an ad for you? Is the AI angle your favorite here with Meta? Augmented reality, AI, the whole 9 yards. Next, let's talk about the other absolute monster that is doing really well here today. And this is one that is close to 13's heart because he's had this for a while here. Shout out to him. I actually remember, really quick story here while he's not here to defend himself. LOL. I remember during COVID, him and I were talking. We weren't as close as we are now, but we were talking a lot about different stocks that we were looking at and this and that. And he was telling me about Microsoft and his thesis on Microsoft. Hey, you guys know 13. I mean, his thesis on Microsoft was perfect. And he's buying it into this huge pullback. And I'm thinking, yeah, you do want to buy stocks when they're on sale. But man, what's going on here? This is really crazy. Dude almost bottom ticked. He has been right on Microsoft for a long time. And looking back now, he was basically, without saying, hey, I recommend that you buy this, he was basically trying to convince me, and I was too dumb to buy it. I would probably still have that in my portfolio if I had bought that low. Nonetheless, here's a look at Microsoft's chart. Look what today did. 8.66% pop to the upside, and look what it did. Pops us above the 100, pops us above the 200. So yes, we definitely want to see a close above these levels. We'd actually like to see a close above these levels tomorrow and Monday as well. That would really solidify some more potential room to the upside here. This is going to be your key level, 414 and a quarter. We're currently just testing 430, so it's a pretty good move there. I really want this to sit above it. The other thing that's worth noting is with this move, we are in a gap. This gap doesn't fill to about 442. Now, I will say, despite today, despite things at least looking rosy here early in the morning, I am unsure that Microsoft is really going to have the strength to get to that 441 level today. It's already up 8.7%. This is a huge company, but this indeed does seem to be one of the next levels on that potential gap fill. I'd also be looking here, 457, and then your all-time high up here at 470 and change. So for the trade right now, I know that not necessarily in the habit of swinging things and entering a new swing that's up 9% here. I'd really like for this to kind of show us some footing for an entry. I don't know if we're going to get that, but if you were in this prior to the earnings or if you have a long-term hold, this is obviously a great morning and a really good report. Let's actually take a look at the data itself. Technology giant Microsoft reported third quarter earnings. Microsoft reported third quarter revenue of $70.07 billion, which is up 13% year over year. The revenue total beat the street consensus estimate of $68.4 billion. The company reported quarterly earnings per share of $3.46, beating a street consensus estimate of $3.22. So healthy beats across the board there. A look at Microsoft's revenue by segment here. Productivity and business processes, $29.9 billion. That was up 10% year over year. Intelligent cloud, $26.8 billion, plus 21% year over year. And personal computing, plus $13.4 billion. That's plus 6% year over year. It would appear to me that the notion that Excel is dead, that just didn't happen. That just didn't happen. Excel is not dead. And a shout out to all of our group here. You folks were telling me just the other day how many different applications you folks have for Excel. I don't really think you're going the AI route. Microsoft's going to keep making money off of that without a doubt. My total Microsoft cloud revenue was $42.4 billion in the quarter, up 20% year over year. 20% year over year. Chief Financial Officer Amy Hood said the cloud revenue growth was driven by, quote, continued demand for our differentiated offerings, end quote. The company saw growth across several segments for cloud. Microsoft 365 commercial cloud rev up 12%. 365 consumer cloud rev up 10%, and Dynamics products and cloud services rev up 11%. Several products and cloud services revenue up 22%. Microsoft is an absolute monster. It's not going anywhere. It's not getting replaced. It's not going anywhere. These numbers show it. Giddy up to Microsoft. Microsoft also said Azure and other cloud services were up 33% year over year. In the more personal computing segment, Xbox content and revenue was up 8%. There was a mention that even LinkedIn, I believe LinkedIn revenue was up 9% from this report, although I don't see it here. Maybe I'll get to it as I keep going. Cloud and AI are essential inputs for every business to expand output, reduce costs, and accelerate growth. The trifecta there. That comes from Satya Nadella. Quote, from AI infra and platforms to apps, we are innovating across the stack to deliver to our customers. Microsoft doing well. Pete here saying, incredible for such a mature company to continue to grow at the rate it does. I wasn't a Nadella fan, but I'm starting to win me over. So I believe, if I recall correctly, your profession, Pete, outside of trading is actually in technology, Silicon Valley type thing. So you kind of have an inside track on this. I share your viewpoint on that. I don't know that I was kind of more indifferent. I don't consider myself an expert on Nadella or Microsoft. I was kind of indifferent to that hiring, but it really does seem like he's done a great job here. He's really driving this company forward. And I mean, I'm assuming I'm giving him credit. I'm assuming he deserves the credit, but I think that's really good. I'm on the same side there. And it is absolutely impressive to see a company of this size grow. The other thing that we're that I'm kind of taking away from this is that, I know we've talked a lot about AI and how much is this actually going to help and what is this actually going to do. Well, it seems like some of these processes and all of the tentacles tied to AI are actually helping these large companies really drive forward. And I'd be unsurprised to see the same thing for Google, Meta, Amazon, Apple, etc. So maybe that is the next boom here. The one other thing that I want to add here, I know I'm kind of jumping around. The one other thing that I want to add here is that I really do fundamentally believe that what would be best for markets and for us as market participants would be if we continue to see a diversification out of the 7 popular tech names. AI is great. All of that stuff is great. I'm not, saying no change. We should go back and live in huts and all of that. No, definitely not. But having us diversify some of this money out of some of these tech names into other names in the market, I think is just going to be better for everyone. Hopefully, some of these large companies can keep growing and can keep outperforming while we do that. That was just kind of an aside. Okay, next here, how much time do we have? Oh, dude, it's only 8:30. We are rocking. We are rocking here. Next, we're going to talk about Hood. Lion Atlas, are you out there? Yes. Yes, he is. Okay, you were talking about Hood. You were talking about being bullish on Hood. You were saying Hood's going to go higher. Hood up 4.6% here on the back of the earnings. And don't forget, we have this potential inverse head and shoulders here on the chart. So maybe we have kind of bottomed and bounced off of the 200-day. We did that back around April 7th, earlier this month. And now it sure looks, the chart anyway, sure looks like this wants to really kind of push and run higher here. We have our all-time high target here of $67. I mean, look, we are almost overbought on an RSI basis. The MACD actually looks okay. Williams percent hour a little bit overbought here too. So maybe this will consolidate above this shoulder that we're kind of trading above. But man, oh man, this is one that I got wrong. Just straight up, just absolute respect to Vlad. When this first came on the scene, COVID, not letting people trade, I was like, there's no way this is going to survive. There's just no way that this is going to survive. And here we are. And not only are they surviving, but they are thriving. And I really think folding crypto into this and crypto not going away, I really think that kind of helped. Let's take a look at some of the numbers, and I'd be really keen to hear how you folks are going to trade Hood here today. Are you setting up options trades? Are you already in with the binary event out of the way? Do you now like it? Any of those things, definitely want to hear about it. Robinhood released its first quarter results after Wednesday's closing bell. They reported quarterly earnings of 37 cents per share, which beat the analyst consensus estimate of 32 cents per share. Quarterly revenue of $927 million beat the consensus estimate of $922.5 million, and is up from $618 million from the same period last year. What a monster move higher. Transaction-based revenues increased 77% year over year to $583 million. This total came from the following: cryptocurrency rev up 100% year over year. 100%. Options revenue up 56% year over year, and equities revenue up, can we even say it, a paltry 44%. Just great numbers here for Robinhood. For the first quarter, Robinhood reported, and this is, I'm actually going to give this to you in case you want to hold on to this article for some of these data points. Funded customers increased 8%. So they are still drawing market share, either newer customers because they allow customers with lower balances to actually get involved in the market, which I think is amazing. Amazing. I'm a huge proponent of getting people involved in the market at a young age, no matter how much money you have. If you have $28 and you want to invest, buy some fractional shares of something and sit on it for years and tell me where you're at in a few years. I digress anyway. Investment accounts increased 11% year over year to 27 million. Total platform assets increased 70%. Net deposits were 18 billion, which is an annualized growth rate of 37% on net deposits. I mean, average revenue per user increased 39%. Robinhood Gold subscribers increased by 1.5 million or 90%. Anyone out there an Robinhood Gold subscriber? How's the card? Let me know. Robinhood Retirement AUC increased 200% year over year. Cash and sweep increased 48%. Margin book increased 115%. Equity notional trading volumes increased 84%. Option contracts 46. I mean, just to the moon here. Vlad says, quote, this quarter, we significantly accelerated product innovation across our key initiatives, highlighted by the announcement of Robinhood Strategies, Banking, and Cortex, end quote. That came from the CEO, Vlad Tenev. Customers have clearly responded, demonstrated by record-breaking net deposits, Robinhood Gold subscriptions and option volume, as well as robust year-over-year growth in trading across asset classes. This company is absolutely crushing it. Okay, did the jobless claims come out? Let me go back to the chart here for Hood. We'll share Pro. Let's take a look and see if we got that data print. Boop. Continuing jobless claims. 1916 versus 1860 estimate. So this was a hotter number there. The prior read was 1833. U.S. initial jobless claims 241,000 versus the 224,000 here. S&P futures looked like they ticked down about 0.1% from when I checked in last, still holding higher here by plus 1.03%. So it looks like that print maybe shook it a little bit here, but we are sticking right where we're at. Doesn't really look like we're breaking it, at least not yet. Let's see what happens when the market actually opens up here. But there you go. There you go. I got gold for just 1K for the 1K margin. They changed from $5 a month ago to 50 for a year, not going over the 1K free margin limit. So I think it's worth it. Okay. Lion says, everything good about Hood, Ryan. Everything's good in the hood, isn't it, brother? I'll tell you what, that report actually really did look good. Did you? I can't remember, Lion. I know that you were trading this. Did you take a trade for the earnings print? If you did, you must be having a really good day here today. Ryan Milligan says, I've used the Hood app, though I wasn't too impressed. So Ryan, I'm glad that you said that, because that was the impression that I had when this first. I don't have the app on my phone. I don't have it installed, and I don't have an account. But when this first came to, if you will, talking to a bunch of my friends and colleagues, and they would show me, and they had the app, and I had the same takeaway, Ryan. I was not terribly impressed with the app. My thought at the time was, you know what? You might just be kind of locked into your ways like a boomer, because you're used to Thinkorswim. You're used to the Thinkorswim app. I had actually tried the Moomoo app a couple of years ago, which I really, really enjoyed. The Robinhood app just didn't really live up to me, but doesn't really matter what I think, because clearly the numbers show that they are absolutely crushing it. Day trader, I'm holding Hood long term, but I don't use the product. Hey, that's me with Apple, buddy. I have said for a number of years, people hate to hear it. They absolutely hate when I say it, because they know that I'm right and they can't answer. They can't answer me. The ultimate pairs trade here. Own Apple stock, use Samsung phones. That's what I've been doing for a while. I know. I've kind of gone the other way now that I have a MacBook Pro, but that's a different story. As far as the mobile device goes, I don't use the iPhone product. I really don't care for it. I think the Android phone is superior, but the Apple stock is something else. The Apple stock is something else. So I don't fault you at all there for that, day trader. Get that money, boss. Get that money. Okay. Let's take a look here real quick at, let's give a pat on the back to our entire community. Let's give a pat on the back to our entire community. In fact, you folks were written about. I bet you didn't even see this. Y'all ready for this? You folks were written about. Apple is one of the Magnificent Seven stocks reporting financial earnings here this week. Here's a look at what Benzinga's readers predict will happen and what analysts are saying. Now, we are definitely going to poll again here for Apple. Producer, get them fingers ready, baby. We want to put out a new poll here for Apple like we did for Tesla. Analysts expect Apple to report second quarter earnings per share of $1.62 on Thursday after the market closes. The company reported earnings per share of $1.53 in the second quarter last year. Apple has beaten analyst estimates for earnings per share in 8 straight quarters and 9 of the last 10 overall quarters. Analysts, expect Apple to report second quarter revenue of $94.3 billion, which is up from $90.75 billion the last year's quarter. The company has beaten analyst estimates for revenue in 8 straight quarters and 9 of the previous 10 quarters overall. On Tuesday, Benzinga polled the viewers of the daily PreMarket Playbook show, which can be found below. During the episode, a poll was asked viewers to predict if Apple will beat or miss analyst estimates for earnings on Thursday. Here are your results. 30% of you, said beat. 27% of you said mixed, 26% of you said miss, and 15% of you said not sure. Let's see if those numbers change here a little bit. Benzinga viewers and readers are mixed on Apple's quarterly results. I just read those. Sorry about that. Along with seeing the quarterly top and bottom line results, analysts and investors will be looking for readouts on how iPhone sales performed in the quarter ahead and how China did. Investors and analysts will be looking for commentary on tariffs, the macroeconomic environment, the supply chain, and future product releases and more. Benzinga viewers were previously asked to predict Tesla's quarterly earnings. In that poll, the results were 68% miss, 19% beat, and 11% in line. In the recent quarter, Tesla earnings per share of 27 cents missed the street's consensus of 31, and the revenue of 19.34 billion missed the street consensus. The Benzinga pre-market playbook viewers are predicting it correctly. Let's see if we can go 2 for 2 and we can make our writers write some more about that. Time will tell if the pre-market playbook viewers are right once again. What do you folks think? And hey, look at this handsome guy down here. Let's go. I definitely want to see us get another article written about us being right. I like that. Reminds me of The Fugitive. Don't ever argue with the big dog. The big dog is always right. Okay, now that I've finished channeling my Tommy Lee Jones, let's actually take a look at the Apple quarter ahead. Then we can go ahead, add 13, and we'll take a look at any of the stocks that y'all want. And I'm sorry, I know I'm running through a lot here. I've missed a lot of your comments. As soon as I get some help here, I'll go ahead and roll through some of those real quick. Tech giant Apple could show better than feared results for China and the iPhone when the company reports second quarter financial results after the market closes here today. Here are some analyst estimates. Analysts expect Apple to report second quarter revenue of $94.42 billion, which is up from $90.75. Company is all, we talked about that already. Here, I wanted to get to Jay Wood's quote here. This is what I haven't gone over yet. Progress on global production of items like the iPhone could be a key focus for investors in the second quarter results, said Jay Woods, Freedom Capital Markets chief global strategist. I felt that one coming. Excuse me. Apple shares are up 19%. Apple shares are 19% below all-time highs and facing pressure on the Chinese markets. The company has announced plans to shift production to India. He added that quarterly results could show a bump in iPhone sales with people, quote, rushing out to beat the expected tariff increases, end quote. Do you think we saw any of that? Well, I can't wait to see this report. And that, quote, iPhone sales will be scrutinized closely. Yeah, where there's no news there. Apple iPhone sales are always scrutinized closely. Apple said the tech sector face a black cloud overhang due to tariffs. Wedbush analyst Dan Ives said in a recent investor's note, he expects minimal guidance for Apple, given the overhang that predicts that Apple could see lower demand if China tariffs stay in place. Oh, by the way, trying not to blow you away with tariff news, but it appears Beijing has finally admitted that, in fact, they are in talks with the Trump administration. I know they tried to act tough and say, oh, we're not talking about them. Okay, cool story, bro. They're actually in talks. Trump actually said yesterday he does expect a deal here. I'm thinking that we're going to see one with India first. And furthermore, China will never admit it, but seeing a deal with India first, they're not going to like that at all, even if they don't admit it. Rosenblatt analyst Barton Crockett. What an awesome name. Barton Crockett. He sounds like he should play lacrosse or something. Recently said that Trump tariffs could blow up Apple. The analyst maintained a buy rating on Apple with a $263 price target. Crockett estimates that Apple could face $39.5 billion in tariffs costs. Quote, we believe that close to 100% of iPhones sold in the U.S. are made in China, 90% of Macs, 80% of iPads, and 90% of Apple Watches, and 35% of Apple AirPods. Without Apple raising prices, the analyst estimates are operating profits and earnings per share could be down by around 32% annually. Raising prices could offset demand, Crockett Warren. Anyone think we're going to see a $3,800 iPhone? Not me. I call BS on that. Okay. We'll see here what we have for Apple later here today. I did want to see if there was anything else I'm missing in here. Tiger's financial analyst Ivan Feinseth said Apple services growth and the integration of Apple Intelligence are future catalysts that investors should focus on. Yeah, still waiting for that Apple Intelligence catalyst to be a positive. Haven't seen it myself. Continue to try and test the Apple Intelligence. It's just not as good. I'd rather have the, what is it, Gemini? The one that's in my Samsung device just works a whole lot better. Quote, Apple's continuing integration of Apple Intelligence will increase and enhance the cadence of new product introductions and drive services growth further growth of the ecosystem. Now, this is the big thing, right? Because if Apple Intelligence does actually land and services can continue to grow as well as like brand stickiness and all of that, growth of the ecosystem, as Feinseth calls it, look out, Apple can go higher here. Feinseth noted that Apple's install base of active devices hit an all-time high in the most recent reported quarter and reiterated a strong buy on Apple, raising the price target from $295 to $300. We talked about Chatterjee's comments yesterday. Second quarter results will be better than feared. Again, these are, I put more weight on these things when they come out before the print rather than after the print. Anyone can do it in hindsight. Putting your reputation and sticking your neck out there ahead of the print, to me, that is just simply more notable. So I can appreciate that. Also, Apple will host the Worldwide Developers Conference beginning June 9th. The company could provide a tease of what items or parts that it is most excited about. Part of me wonders if we will hear anything new on the AI front, the Apple Intelligence front. We'll see. We'll see. The other thing here, I skipped over this. Shame on me. Guidance will be another key topic as Apple does not provide forward guidance anymore. Remember, that was a number of years ago. Has nothing to do with the tariffs. So you might be seeing that floating out there, but that's BS. Apple does not provide forward guidance after the first quarter. Many companies have stopped reporting guidance or have been more cautious in their guidance given the tariff concerns in the macroeconomic environment. Okay, green arrows still across the board. Taking a look here, it looks like the S&P futures did pull back a little, but they got bought right back, still higher by 1.06%. Let's go ahead, go back to the charts. Well, in this case, the news feed, but then the chart. And let's also welcome in our boy 13. 13, happy Thursday. Happy Big Mama EPS Day. Apple, of course, reports earnings here after hours. How are you doing today?
Hey, what's up? It's your boy 13.
That's what I wanted to hear. Let's go, 13.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a great morning. Looking like it's going to be a fun open anyway. Don't know what the whole day's got in store for us, but off the heels of some of these Mag 7 earnings, we're going up still. So let's see how much this continues. Got a few movers we can go over if you want to start there.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've got plenty of time. We've got really nothing scheduled here. We can hit the movers. We can hit any of the stocks that folks want. Ryan here saying, why did Trump have workers singing the praises of tariffs in his speech if they were sticking when they were just a negotiation tactic and not long-term? Ryan, at the risk of trying to speak for other people whom I just simply cannot understand, one of the things that I would float here as a potential answer to your question, there's been a lot of talk about tariffs replacing income tax, and that makes a lot of people happy, and that especially benefits those at the low end of the income chain. So yeah. I don't know if that's the case, but I'm just throwing it out there as a hypothetical.
According to Trump, they're kind of both. He's not talking about making them a short-term negotiating tactic, even though they are a negotiating tactic. He's also talking about keeping them on, but just changing the amount of the tariffs. But yes, to your point, Ryan, he's talking about using tariff as a means to replace income tax. So we'll see how that shakes out. He's we have tax reform coming up this year, so we'll see what.
And that was that's the other thing. So first of all, I don't know if he's going to be successful in that. I'm not making a call on that. But as 13 just very smartly pointed out, we are getting tax reform this year. It is happening. The administration has actually already told us to hold on, there's going to be some good stuff coming down the road. I know y'all are freaking out about tariffs right now, but there's going to be the sweet part. We're getting the bitter first and the sweet part later. So again, I don't claim to know how this is going to shake out. I'm just offering you a hypothetical for that. Okay, Movers 13, you want to do it?
Sure, let's do it.
Do you have one on the top of the list that maybe we should start with, like Zakar, which is coming out of Z Garage?
It is coming out of Z Garage. It's on the road and it's making its way downtown.
Okay.
But I have no idea why it's moving. This is going today on No News. There is talk of a tariff deal with India. I don't know if that's we've mentioned several times. I don't know how much on this show, but we've mentioned several times that there could be a number of India stocks that could move with a potential deal. So this being a car rental service, I don't know how it quite fits in, but it is an India a company in India. They do have business in Vietnam and Philippines, Malaysia, but most of the revenue comes from India. The share float has 665,000 shares. Very easy to push around. We also have a bit of a high short interest here, 20.47%. They did do a reverse split, a 1 for 20 last, I'm sorry, we're in May now, so a couple months ago, back on March 24th. Company does need cash though, so I think that with how they've just been doing a recent reverse split, they actually did one not too long ago before that, I think in November, but it was last year. So they're kind of going through the motions of making sure they're staying within compliance, and this thing is just absolutely ripping right now. They're trying to make sure they stay in compliance, have the amount of cash they're supposed to have, they're supposed to be above $1. So you're going to see reverse splits in order to do that, and as well as capital raises. So I think the capital raise could be coming next because the time I had, I didn't quite see if there was any offering on the table or a prospectus. So I don't know if there is one or not, but just based on the things that I'm seeing, it looks like they're going to do a capital raise or get some kind of cash infusion next.
Okay, well, there's no shelf filed, so it's not as if they're ready to do that. So we would actually have to see some filings before they end up doing that. Also, one more thing that I wanted to mention here. I haven't seen Smoke Tuna yet today, so maybe he's not with us yet. But remember, we were talking yesterday. One of the things that he was saying several times was that, hey, we're not really seeing any of these kind of junky, smaller names move 100+%. And that kind of lent itself to some weakness. Well, look what we got here. We got one popping 150% here in the pre-market. So it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening with this one and what happens with some of these other movers. Looks like the next one that we're going to talk about here up almost 60%. So I want to be cautious about taking too much from just one single data point, but we just talked about this yesterday. We did not have any 100% movers. Now the first one that we talk about today is in fact over 100% mover. So
and it's an India company.
And it's an India company, you said.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Just thought I would point that out there because I thought it was kind of interesting how we're talking about India being the first country to potentially get a deal signed here. And we were looking around for potential India stocks or ETFs we could look at on news such as that. So I think it's just really interesting that we're starting to see a name that we've traded before, obviously, but an India company nonetheless moving on No News.
Okay. Short interest here, 20.47% against a days to cover of 1. That days to cover comes on 110,000 shares of volume. We're already approaching 10 million. We'll probably hit that prior to the open here, so I don't really think that's a big deal. Okay. Pete saying McDonald's report largest U.S. same-store sales decline since 2020. Pete, are you blaming that on tariffs? Are you blaming that on the economy? Let me know. Maybe it's GLP-1s. Just saying. Okay, I'm going to keep moving on here. Next is going to be KIDZ Kids. This is class. Oh, come on now. This is Class Over Holdings. Hey. When I first talked about this, oh, no, excuse me. This is actually a different one ripping right now. The other one is still right at about 57%. We have news here? Of course we do. Class Over Holdings enters into a $400 million equity purchase facility agreement to launch a SOL-based treasury strategy. Day trader. Let's go. Sol getting more and more used and mentioned in these types of treasury strategies here. Basically, adding this to their balance sheet here. Mercurity FinTech Chinance Securities appointed as strategic advisor for class overs Solana. Okay, so they also appointed someone to actually do this. Yo is right. Bang! This thing up 82% here today. Big time pop here for KIDZ. We're actually popping into a consolidation area. Just at a glance here, the 250 level is kind of jumping off the page for me. Let me zoom in here a little bit more. 13, while you look through this here, quick look around the horn. Okay, I don't have a float reading. It's got 266,000 shares held short. That doesn't seem like a lot. I guess we'll see if we do it.
I got 12.3 million.
Okay, so if 12.3 million is in fact the float, a short float here of 266 is not a whole lot. Stack on average trades 1.7 million. We're at almost 8 million here after this PR. What do you think on this one?
I didn't cover this one. This looks like it's just now getting going. Do see that there was quite a bit of insider buying late last month. Looks like the Tryon Williams was and another company was also buying a bunch of shares. So they knew that something was about to happen with this. Don't really have any read in the company. Let's look at the financials, see if there's anything there. Looks like they have 250,000 in cash in the bank. They're losing, not a lot of revenue on this company, less than $1 million. But doesn't really lose too much cash. Still not profitable though. This had I don't know what the reason was for the massive drop that it had, if it was earnings or something, but they came crashing down back on April 7th. So this is after the Liberation Day. Don't necessarily know if that maybe there was something about the education department, being closed that may have affected it. I don't know. All I know is that it's down here and it's trying to come back up. The next area of resistance that I see from here, actually, we're coming up to it right now, is 226.
Okay.
And then after that, I'd be looking at 275, followed by 3, and then 340.
Okay. Just taking a look here at the news feed. William Tryon, director and chairman, buys 15,000 shares, paid 22 cents. There was another one. It looks like Pedinas Ltd. They bought 1,000 shares. Yeah. William Tryon bought 5,000 more shares. William Tryon bought another 5,000 shares. Oh, and then we get the news here today.
Yep. They may have known something.
Remember what we talk about when it comes to insider buying. There's only one reason why you would buy. There's N reasons why you would sell, meaning you can come up with reasons for anything. One time I was talking to somebody who said, and I asked him about this. This is someone that formerly worked on Wall Street. And he said, I was talking about insider buy. I said, one of the funniest things I ever heard, ever. He's like, I was talking to a bunch of but I can't remember what the name of the company was. It actually might not be around anymore. Anyway, he was saying that him and a couple of his buddies were like, man, they filed all these forms. They were recently selling shares. What's going on? The president was selling shares. Well, it just so happened that a couple of weeks later, this gentleman got to talk to the president about that. He said, hey, what's going on with the share selling here? He goes, yeah, I'm sending my kid to a really expensive college. And I also refreshed my line of suits for work. And that was the whole reason he was selling shares to begin with. So number of reasons why you can do that. There's only one why you would buy. The stock popping here plus 85%. We'll see if we get above that 100% level here and get some bullishness. Really good breakdown there. KIDZ. All right, next here, NAOV. This is Nano Vibronics. We're familiar with this one because we've traded this one a number of times off the scanner. I'm going to be entirely unsurprised if you still have levels from this one. So we'll see how that shakes out here. Not to put any pressure on you or anything. Stock is levels. There we go. Stock is up. You do not disappoint, 13. You are not in the business of disappointing. Stock is up 60% here today. No recent news. The only thing we have here is yesterday we had this Form S. Now, I didn't go through this, 13. Initial offering Form S reported Tuesday. That's it.
They're looking to raise capital, I believe. This company does need cash. They did I didn't look to see when it was the reverse split, but their share structure is under 1 million. It's 824,000 shares. I think this could be a recompliance play. It's going through all the motions. It's one of the other reasons it was starting to run is because it had a very low RSI. So I think there was a bit of a technical move there as well. 14 and a half of the float is shorted, so a little bit of a squeeze is there as well. I think that that filing that you were just reading is how they're going to be raising money. So that could I don't know when that's going to get executed. I don't think I caught the date in there if they even mentioned it, or if it was going to be this one of those time-to-time things. But that's what I've got out of NAOV. It's moving until we get that news that they're going to execute that offering.
Okay, there you go. Be careful with this one. We're talking about an offering. Be careful. Tactical trades, okay, but be careful. All right, next one I have here on the list is E2. ETWO is the ticker. E2 Open Parent Holdings. This sounds like a China education company. Let me see here real quick. End-to-end cloud-based supply chain management SaaS platform.
There you go.
Okay, so it's not geographically, the company operates in Americas, Europe, and Asia Pacific. Way to look like an idiot, Ryan. It is only 9 o'clock in the morning. We've already embarrassed ourselves one time. Here we go. ETWO popped higher than 280 here. It's really kind of come back and actually lost the VWAP there. Volume's dying off a little, but we'll see if that firms up at all. 3.43% of the float shorted here. Days to cover 6.32, but that comes on 1.1 million shares. We've already traded 4.5 million shares. The stock actually has a little bit of coverage, which is a bit unusual for some of these little guys that we have here. Nothing great. 250, 230, 230, your most recent price targets. Now, those do come from UBS, Morgan Stanley, and Goldman Sachs. So we're not talking about Wainwright or some, little house here. We're talking about some big boys. E2, what do you think here? ETWO.
Well, they just had earnings earlier this week on Tuesday. Got some coverage yesterday. There was a investor presentation they released. There's talks of a deal with a company called WiseTech. So I'm not exactly sure what it's which one of those pieces of information it's moving on, but I think the thing that concerns me about this is the float. Pretty large share structure, 230 million shares in the float. This company loses a lot of money. Well, they did in the last quarter anyway, and I think that was I don't know what the tax issue was with that, but they took a 384 million loss on their income before tax. So, but normally they still lose around $30 million each quarter. So, not a profitable company. Loses a lot of money. Large share float structure. I'm a little concerned that this may end up just leaking. Could see some intermittent pops throughout the day, maybe out the gate. But I think this is just one of those ones that the float is so heavy that it just might not get a lot of decent price action and just trade lower.
Okay. Real good stuff there. ETWO. I will probably avoid this one too.
Who was it? Was it Crow that was, or Smoke Tuna that was talking about CEP yesterday?
Nope.
Man, that thing took off.
Hang on. I'm glad you're getting to this. And if you want to give more flowers to more people, that is completely fine. I'm all about trying to promote the good calls here in the chat, of which we have many every single day. Maybe it was Crow, maybe it was Smoke Tuna, and I'm not trying to disparage anybody here. The one that I remember, Barry the Goat. Where are you, Barry? Tell me you're out there. Tell me I'm not shouting you out while you're not here. Barry the Goat, the first day that we talked about CEP, Barry the Goat in chat said that this thing was going to $50. Some folks, including myself, laughed a little bit because it didn't really look like 50 was going to be possible. And here we are sitting here with the stock at 46 and change, was actually above 47 earlier here today. And this thing sure looks like a test of 50 is on deck. So Barry, if you're out there, good call. If I am not remembering, or to use Roger Clemens's line, if I'm misremembering some of the people who were also calling this higher, y'all folks made some monster calls on that. Straight up, I was wrong. You all were right. I did not think this was going to go to $50, and it did. Alex here saying it was Alex. I talked about this in the morning. Alex, great call.
Yep.
Glad y'all folks were able to see through some of that. STFU said, I made a cool 4 figs on CEP. We'll give you a register ring for that. Really, really good stuff here. I have said a number of times, you folks do not need to just simply listen to the talking heads on the television screen or on your monitor here. There are definitely ways for you to do all of this stuff yourself. This is a really great example. This is one that I was not on. 13, I know you traded this early. Did you? Have you traded it since?
I did not trade it yesterday. I was trading it when we were first talking about this. It provided a lot of great trades, but when this movement was happening, I wasn't going to chase that. I was like, oh man, wish I had been in this. But then I was like, okay, next thing, because I can't get upset at something I'm not in.
Sure.
This is great. I'm glad that everybody that jumped in this and made money off this did really well. I was busy with doing my directional ETF for the day, since things looking slow, and wasn't really interested in some of these individual names. So just did SQQQ and TQQQ yesterday.
Okay. Well, that has been working too, by the way. And that was absolutely phenomenal yesterday. Michael, I loved the trade yesterday, the call out on the trade yesterday. That was so crispy. That was great. But I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue to shout out wins here, folks. We have spent a lot of time trying to build a community here, not for the sake of just a number of views, but actually for the sake of a community that helps one another. I have people reaching out to me privately saying that, Ryan, your show is better than scanners that I have. Because you all folks are always looking for stuff here. This is just a really great example. Take a bow. If you traded this, take a bow, pat yourself on the back, make sure you get yourself a steak or something for dinner. Love stuff like this.
Crow is saying that he traded this the whole way up. The whole way up. Crow taking flight.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Really, really good stuff there. Okay. ETWO Bull is back. Webull back here. Looks like this is popping here. Webull shares trading higher after the company launched, after the launch of BlackRock model portfolio. Okay. You have Webull. You'll have to let me know what that is if and when you find out what that is. Nonetheless, here, the stock, pretty good movement. We actually popped, what is it, right into the supply zone, right into this consolidation area from when we pulled back on Monday. That was actually kind of a rough day for Bull. Really kind of settled there. Well, we'll right back. Let's see if we can take that out to the upside. Also, really want to reiterate what Lion is saying. Hit the like. Hit the like, not only for our community, but for what we're trying to do and how we're trying to change things around here, and for the individual community members. And that we have over 1,000 total views already this morning. That means I need 1,000 likes, folks. Get in there and get it done. Okay. Webull here. 13. Do you have anything on this? Are you enticed by this? Do you think maybe the sell-off's over and now it's time for some long side trades here?
I'm just kind of trying to back out here and look at a little bit of a longer time frame, not on days or anything, but kind of like 15 minutes, just to see what the price action was like over several days, to see if we got some kind of bottoming happening here. I was chuckling to myself because you're saying how it got hammered on Monday, and I was like, oh, was it not having a bullish day? Anyway, my head is full of stupid jokes. But we're
join the club.
We're making our way back up to that consolidation that you just pointed out. I think it's also going to be worth it to take a look at that pop that we had on that morning of that consolidation that brought it up to 1610. So that could be an area to keep your eye out for. If we do manage to get past that, I do like 1685 to 1690. That could be another area where we might see some resistance.
Okay.
But there's a really big area of consolidation up in starting at 1820. So there's several levels for you to the upside. Don't know which ones it's going to hit, but the earliest one does look to be that 1610. So I'd keep an eye on that level.
Okay. Real good stuff. Tim saying, thanks so much for the help. I'm listening every day. Tim, I'm happy to hear that. Let me know if there's anything else that you need help with. We're more than happy to cover that. We need more than we need more of that. We just need more. MOAR. Lion says, I need VIP status for hitting that like every day. Lion, you are a VIP right up in here. Don't you worry about that. Keep hitting that like, boss. All right, let's keep moving through the list here. Oh my God, this list, the movers are so crazy that Microsoft has made the movers list here today. Post earnings, this thing's an absolute monster, still up 8.7%. Looks like Roblox also on here. They reported earnings here this morning. Roblox shares trading higher after the company reported Q1 financial results and issued bookings guidance. One thing I will say here, I've anecdotally been commenting on this every time that we talk about Roblox. I will say that the crowds of kids around the gift cards at Costco do seem to be dying out. I don't know if that's a product of it being the summer, more people going outside, sporting equipment. I don't know. But the gaggle of kids that was around these things every time I went before seems to be dying out. I don't know if we're at peak here or not.
The gaggle.
I mean, look, that's the sound that they were making. Just a bunch of weird sounds. Anyway, Roblox here higher here post earnings. Here's a look at the daily chart. Next spot in sight here going to be the $76 all time high. Let's see if we can end up getting there.
Is this company still losing money?
I believe so, but let me check.
Yep, still losing hundreds of millions a quarter.
13 is just not amused.
It's frustrating. I want to like this company, but if you're gonna like just piss money away like that, it bothers me to want to even take a position in it. And my kids, my kids like this game, so it's like.
So let me ask you. So you actually have? We don't need to talk about the Costco kids. Do your kids play and like this? Still?
They still play Roblox. There's some games that they enjoy, but they're growing, so they've moved on to some of the things. But they still play this game.
Okay.
It's got other stuff in it. It's got a bunch of games in it.
Okay. All right. We can go over to other stocks here. Wayfair, every style, every home. This also here looks like this is trading higher here after reporting earnings. Looks like a high as 36. Maybe the bottom is in here on Wayfair. We'll see, but that's trading up here as well. Okay. We can go back to the
big short interest in Wayfair, by the way. So keep an eye on this for a potential squeeze. I know that the float's heavy, but it's got a high short interest.
31.24% of the float short at 2 days to cover there, but that 2 days to cover comes on 5.7 million. So unless something really happens here, maybe there can be a little bit of squeeze action in there. Okay, let's go back to the chart tool here. We can take a look at whatever you want. We did have two requests here. Yassine at the beginning of the show wanted to take a look at MSTR. I'm going to do my daily call out. Jamie Dimon, where you at? Where are we going here with MSTR? We are back above the 383.40 level, which is great to see. We have made a pretty substantial run here. This has really kind of mimicked what Bitcoin has done, to be quite honest with you, but wouldn't be surprised if this pulled back at all. Again, really kind of happy that this has gotten over that 383.40 level. Next spot here to me certainly looks to be this 440, 450 area. That is considerably higher than where we're at now. Quick look in on the treasury here for MicroStrategy. Or Strategy, excuse me. They own 553,555 Bitcoin. That accounts for 2.636% of the total outstanding 21 million Bitcoins available. Aside from, I think, BlackRock, they own more than anyone else. Bitcoin, as you know, is trading up here. I got to imagine that's good for MicroStrategy. Here's what you're moving. Yeah, here's what your Bitcoin looks like. A 13, I don't know about you, but this little formation here, this sure looks like a bull flag to me. And this looks like this wants to try and resolve higher. Got this nice little flag post out of our support area above the area that you and I were talking about. Now we seem to be consolidating above that area, getting another pop here today. Giddy up. Let's see if we can hit 100K and beyond.
Well, the big thing here for me is that we haven't seen this price that it's at since February. And 96,000 was a pretty important level to get back over because we haven't seen it since February. So now that it's broken out of that resistance, a lot of these Bitcoin affiliated names are really moving. But remember, they're still tied to the price of Bitcoin. So even with this pop, if the price of Bitcoin comes in, so too will these stocks. So it's great right now. I just don't know if this is gonna be sustainable or not. Because the price that we're trading in right now is in a consolidation area, and that area is going to be from about 93.5 to almost 100,000. So right in that range, we could see a lot of back and forth for a time.
Okay. Jay here saying gold versus Bitcoin sure looks like risk is on. We've talked about Bitcoin being the ultimate risk asset. I would agree with Jay. The one caveat that I would say they're just kind of leaving it out here. Bitcoin, this can seem to change the sentiment here. That is, can seem to change at the drop of a hat. So something else to keep in mind. This chart formation looks pretty good. I obviously never got filled at 70K or some of the stink bids that I had in there, but I'm okay with that. I still have some BTC. Yeah.
When it comes to MicroStrategy, I'm looking at a 5-minute chart, and I have to think that drawing a line at 395 may serve those that are trading it pretty well. It looks like
395. Did you say?
Yes.
Okay.
It looks like at about that area, we kind of double topped here in the pre-market, and now we're trying to get back up there again. If we cannot, I would think that we may end up losing 392, which looks to be a key support area for the pre-market right now, maybe even as low as 391.50, but I like 392. So if we start trading underneath 392 and cannot recapture, this stock price may come down back down to this 385 and 75 cent level that I have drawn here, which was a breakout level.
Okay. All right. Real good stuff there.
Just double topping a little bit here on the 5-minute chart. So just
indeed it is.
A little caution.
It got it right on screen here, 13. You're exactly right. Exactly right. Okay. A couple of things here real quick. Sorry, I'm trying to go through. You guys love all of the comments here today. Trying to find one that I was. Josh here saying, is there a short interest tab on Thinkorswim? No, Josh, there isn't. This is one of the reasons why we use Benzinga Pro and why you should too. We put all of that really good information right at your fingertips so that you can easily get it. Graph here asking, when will CoreWeave report? Let's see if they've confirmed that here real quick. Again, we'll use Benzinga Pro to do that. I don't have any confirmation here for CoreWeave. I can reach out to my news desk today and see if they have anything for us. All right. You're welcome, Yassine. Yeah.
So they're supposed to report on May 14th after the market closed. That's the expectation. I don't know if that's been confirmed or not, but it's supposed to be in a couple of weeks from now.
Okay, perfect. So we're pretty much, so it seems to me that what they're going to do is they're going to report along the same timeline as NVIDIA, which I believe is May 28th. In fact, let me check. I spoke about that earlier. I didn't double check.
I think you're right. It might be like the 21st or something like that, but it is
confirmed 5:28 after market hours. That is indeed going to be Wednesday at the end of May. So CoreWeave there, seeing preliminary report date of May 28th.
Yeah. So I don't think we have any confirmation yet. So it's expected to be this month.
And that's par for the course, by the way. Eventually, the company CEO, whatever, they'll confirm the date, and we'll have that confirmed. That's just par for the course. Okay,
real quick. Level, ticker BULL, that dropped down to its VWAP, and it's getting some support from that. Anybody that's trading in the pre-market, just wanted to kind of point that out there. Volume doesn't look great, but this does holding up the VWAP does provide good bounce opportunities here. So just wanted to flag that for anybody that's trading in the pre-market.
Okay. Awesome. Indeed, it is doing that. My VWAP looks exactly the same as yours. Okay, Ivan saying, I like TEM long-term, but that's just me. It's a Pelosi play. She bought it a couple of months ago. Did she close that position? I can't remember. I know that she did buy it several times. Someone else asked about TEM earlier. So let's do that. Let's cover that one here. This has been kind of a fun trade. I know a lot of you folks hit this right when we got that Pelosi news. Also, courtesy of Benzinga Pro, while we're on the subject of that, here is TEM. The good news here with some of the recent price action, first of all, this, I believe, was when we were first talking about it, right? We had this huge gap move, then we had this huge push to new all-time highs. We made a lot of noise about that. I'm almost certain that that's the case. Anyway, here we are, this most recent move. We really came off this bottom. I'll tell you what, this 39.40 area looks like a pretty stiff pretty firm bottom here for ticker TEM. We're actually sitting right above the 200-day. And the good news here, we're also above the 50-day. And if this trajectory continues, we should invalidate this potential death cross. Now, 13, I know we've talked a lot about the death cross potency, if you will, when it swings back and forth. One of the other things that you'll know is with Tempest being a relatively new stock, our 200-day moving average just started getting drawn. So I actually have no data to see if any of these crosses have any merit when the 200-day threshold is recent. I don't know if you do, but it is, the 50 is coming in here, and it looks like we're trying to go higher here on this. RSI is still in really good shape. MACD doesn't look bad. We do have earnings confirmed in 5 days for May 6th after the market closes. So if you're going to trade that, maybe trade this into earnings here. I definitely see some resistance up here around $60, and I would not be surprised if 60 is where the stock tries to trade next. Quick look here, 20.48% of the float shorted. That comes on 2 days to cover. The stock on average trades about 13.5 million shares and has a float of 101 million. 13, you got any levels or thoughts here on ticker TEM, Tempest AI?
I do. I like that it's recaptured its 50-day SMA, and we're continuing to close over it. Same thing with the and we back tested it and the 200-day, and we're moving up off it. That's all great. I like that. I want to see this get up to 60. Now, when it does, I don't know if we're going to see rejection or not. But given that we have 5 days until their earnings, it could spend some time making its way up to 60 finally on the day that it reports. Now, what's interesting also to me is that when I look at their financials and seeing how they've reported in the past, you have over the past year, they've been reporting a increase in revenue in this range of about 15 to 20 million. So my thought now is that if we start seeing a increase in that revenue, threshold by more than 20 million or even 25 million, that could really get this stock moving in a significant way, especially with the high short interest that it has. So there are a lot of interesting things. This is the highest the short interest has been in the company too, 20.5%. So there's a lot of real interesting things that are kind of setting up here in going into the earnings report. I can't say with any certainty what's going to happen, but I think the amount of revenue that they bring in this report could be a significant factor in whether or not this runs or not. So just something that I would keep an eye on is if how much the revenue is, if it's like 15, 20, or maybe or more than that over last quarter is what I'd be watching for.
Okay. All right, really good stuff there, TEM. Couple of things here, Zach. I know you're busy as hell. We're all busy, man. It's the morning. Did you hit Weight Watchers and I missed it? No, we did not hit that yet at all today. We did talk about this one yesterday. This was on the scanner yesterday. Mm-hmm. This was making some moves yesterday. One of the things that you'll notice here, I know it's tough to see here. Let me get rid of this pesky auto scaling nonce. This is where we ended yesterday. The last couple of days when Weight Watchers has really pushed up, look what happened. It has straight up been rejected at the 200-day. You want to say it was rejected at the 100-day too? Okay, but those are very close to each other. It does look like this right here is going to be one of these significant spots. So if you're going to trade this here today, one of the things you want to see is a bust of some of these levels. That's going to be 85 cents and 94 cents. We also want to see volume flow into this. We're currently at 81 cents. We are still up 5.5% from yesterday, but if you look here on the 5-minute chart, one of the downside spots I'd be kind of cautious of, maybe 74 cents or 70 cents here on Weight Watchers. We did have some news here. This is reported earlier. Weight Watchers International shares are trading higher after the company on Tuesday announced a pharmacy integration with Eli Lilly's Lilly Direct pharmacy provider. So remember, Eli Lilly, the GLP-1 angle there looks like Weight Watchers kind of making it easier for that.
What's interesting about this is that not yesterday, but the day before, it traded up just underneath $1. Yesterday, it went over $1, but then it came right back in. Also, not able to recapture the 200-day SMA. Somebody is selling at about $1, it looks like, or at the 200-day SMA. But what's interesting is that high that we made yesterday. If you draw a horizontal line at that high and look to the left, you can see that has been a pretty key support and resistance level. That price is what is this, $1.13?
Correct.
So you draw a horizontal line there and look to the left, you can see how this has been a pretty significant support resistance area. Now, with the RSI being as high as it is, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot more room for this to run, even if it goes back over $1. It's very extended right now. So I'd be looking more towards areas of support so that can kind of cool off and get ready to make its next run if it's going to end up doing that. And I think the best spot to start looking for an area where it might come down to and get support could be 70 cents. I kind of like that area.
Okay. Really good breakdown there, Weight Watchers. Zach, let me know if that was helpful. And no worries, man. We did not cover this one. It wasn't really on the movers list when we took a look at that. Okay, the other one that the chat had asked for, we actually have more folks asking for it now, is going to be Palantir. Nobody's surprised. Folks, the first thing that I'm going to say here about Palantir, watch this double top. This is very clearly, I mean, I don't even think you guys need me for this, but this 125 and a half, what's the exact value? That was the high there. 125.41 was your exact high there. 125 and a half. That 50-cent area is going to be significant resistance. Remember all the lessons that Mark Petrino talks to us about: remorseful buyers, remorseful sellers, the whole nine yard. We are expecting something to happen here, and perhaps today. We are up just under $2 here, up 1.5%. We're not far away from this double top. At this point, your guess is as good as mine. I mean, could this thing break down from a pretty nasty and crisp and clean double top? Yeah, it absolutely could. Could the cult following for this stock really bust it through, set a new high, and have it knife? Yeah, that could happen too. Could it continue to just buck the trend and go to some crazy PE? Yes, we've been seeing it do that. I feel like all of these situations here are possible, but watch that new all-time high as we get up there. Anything that you got? Oh, hang on. There he is. Barry the Goat. First of all, Barry, showing up here asking about FLD, the purest Bitcoin play, but a small cap. No, we haven't even looked at that. I want to hear more about that. My question is, were you here when I shouted you out for your CEP call, Barry the Goat? Let me know, because initially I laughed a little bit. I chuckled a little bit when you suggested that $50 price, and now you are having the last laugh. And I'm forced to do a mea culpa. So you let me know if you were here to hear that, because I'm going to be disappointed if you weren't. Nonetheless, let's get back to Palantir. 13, sorry for interrupting you there. Do you have any spots or thoughts here on Palantir?
So if we do end up going to that high at around 125, we're going to be pretty extended here. The RSI is already, just under 72, so it's overbought already, and we have earnings in 4 days, and we've just run up into this earnings print. I would probably want to exercise a little bit of caution here, just based on what those technicals are saying. This could still just blast through that 125 high and rip before it comes in. That's entirely possible too, but. I think there's a little bit of a greater risk up here with how extended it is. You have the run up into earnings. That number is going to have to, it's going to have to be awesome, because if it isn't, then we probably will end up double topping here. I think this is just, I could be completely wrong about that too, because this thing has defied expectations. But I think it's just one of those things where you got to be careful, because it's all the technicals are telling you that this thing is extended and running up into earnings, and could be a good selling point.
I'll tell you what, this is one of the things that's keeping me out of it. Pete's literally hitting the nail on the head right here. Palantir is so ridiculous right now. It's due for a huge correction. Yes. In fact, I was waiting for $60. It is double that. It is twice the price of the entry price that I wanted and did not get. I made a comment there about the price to earnings going up. Pete saying it's already a ridiculous PE. It
is.
Pete, are you ready for it to be even more ridiculous? The PE going into today, 227. You're not kidding about ridiculous. I mean, it's completely out of control. Look, my whole thing here is just from what the big lesson that I've learned over the course of my career doing this is that buy low, sell high, and it's not as easy as it is said. And so when you find yourself something like this, Palantir, I want to own this. Drones, AI technology, America leading, some of the brightest minds working at Palantir. Yes, yes, yes. I love everything about it. But the stock's been on an absolutely monster run. So I'm really kind of waiting for this to pull back. A couple of things here just to clean up. I really wanted to make sure we got to Palantir here. STFU, thank you very much for the super chat here. Yeah, this happened. I might be magic. 6:01 a.m. I think that's Pacific time. This Tesla knife could sustain down to the 279.25 level. Let's see how close our good old friend STFU got here. Let's look inside. This could go down to the 279.25 level. I have it at 279.23. Not bad. But there's support around 281. And here we are right at 280. 281 is actually where the 200 the 200 SMA on the 5-minute chart is. So those levels look pretty good. We appreciate the super chat, but we more appreciate your crispy and accurate calls. So STFU, keep them coming, boss. You're an asset here, just like 13.
20 seconds.
Okay, really quick. Barry the Goat just got here from whooping some ass on the tennis courts. Dude, I like this guy more and more. I love tennis. I wish I was better at it. I played when I was in high school, but I was never really great. Good on you. Also, really good call on CEP. We're open.
Go. All right, Z-Car, what you got?
Z Garage, it's coming. Here we go. Higher.
Just be
that was
careful.
The worst fake accent I've ever done. I'm sorry.
I think you might want to be a little bit careful out of the open here with Z-Car, but it could rip. But just be careful though. It has had a nice pre-market. NAOV that came down out of the open, coming down to one of my levels actually that I have at 405. So we're just trading slightly beneath that. Let's see if it can recapture it.
Hood looks like some profit taking right now. Amanda, good morning. I don't trade Palantir. I only trade the volatility of Palantir.
Kids, we looked at that one this morning. That hit a high of 270 in the pre-market. That's kind of going sideways out the gate here. MACD indicating that this could roll over, so just be careful with this. If we do break that 270, then it looks like we're going to probably go on a little bit more of a run before it comes back in. If we get that, I'll identify some levels. Z-Car now starting to come back in, hitting a high of 1090. If support were to kick in, probably might be able to draw a trend line here using the bottom of these lows. So it looks like if we do come in here sharply, 890 might be a support area. We'll see if that ends up happening.
There is your trend line. That's pretty clear. Yeah. Real quick here, BZ Films, PLTD here, going to be your inverse of Palantir. This actually might be a decent way to trade that if you think Palantir is going to pull back. Also, Jay Rice, good morning. I know you had said, how about that odd report from yesterday? It indeed was an odd report. The action here was great. Wish I was on top of this a little bit more. Z-Car's going?
It's going now. Here we go. We're moving much better now. This could end up halting.
Yeah, the 11. In fact, let me throw Z-Car up here so I can not be off on that. This is going to halt here, 1149. If it holds, I'm seeing prints. We're going to halt up right here. Bang, halted.
Nice.
And I actually, right before that halt happened, I actually see someone bidding. They're halted in there, but they have a bid out at 1152. It's halted at 1149. It tells me at least there was some interest going into this. I think this pops higher out of the halt.
Yeah, I'm seeing orders all the way up into the 12s.
I'm seeing NVIDIA call flow like a mug right now.
All right, so while that's halted, there's going to be some more attention being diverted to other names. So let's look at some of these other movers here. Maybe
before we do that, is that okay?
Sure.
Okay, real quick here. I wanted to give you the poll results. Let me run through these here real quick. Results from the poll the other day. During the episode, we asked viewers to predict if Apple were going to beat or miss analyst estimates. 30% said beat, 27 said mixed, 26 said miss, and 15 said not sure. We retook that poll this morning here. 38% of people think Apple beats, 27 think that they miss, and 23 seem that they're mixed. So it looks like the mix report were a little bit more solidified to the beat angle. Not sure is about the same. Much higher chance of beating. The reason I'm bringing this up, 13, is because we actually wrote an article about the readers of our show and how correct they were in predicting the Tesla earnings. We're going to do it again here for Apple. Let's see what you folks do. Again, big time shout out for you. 13, I'm sorry for jumping in front of you, but I'm really excited by that, as you can tell.
I can tell. And, we're just looking for what's going to be, trying to move next here. We're thinking maybe kids. That might be putting in a bit of a head and shoulders. We'll see if that ends up being the case. MACD is indicating that it could roll over, so be careful if you're trading that one. Looking at E2, that's not doing a whole lot. Doesn't have a really good volume at all. NAOV, that's still trying to hold above 4. It did dip down to 391. And then ZCAR is halted. So that's about all we've got right now. It looks like Bull lost its VWAP out of the open here and is coming down to the consolidation from the pre-market.
Okay. Real quick here, Amanda asking, what are the strikes in NVIDIA, Rye? So there's been a lot here this morning. The strikes pretty much range. The low end, I think, here is 108. Yeah, 108 right in here. The high end here is, I believe, 120. I didn't see any above that. 120 seems to be the high. So 108 to 120. But most of these, Amanda, most of these are in the mid one teens. 114, 115, 113. 115, 115, 115. These are all in the mid-teens. The expiry ranges from tomorrow to next week to the monthly contract. So it is all of these two current weekly contracts that we have, as well as the monthly. Looks like NVIDIA there in the 1-teens. That makes sense. These are pretty much at the money trades. They are hundreds of contracts deep. And the amount or the premium paid on these trades ranges anywhere from 40 grand to 150 grand per trade. We had one here that was $250,000. They swept up 1.3K contracts. Good question there, though.
Just waiting for it. Wow, Webull is really coming down now. It's just pulling hard. Looks like two sets of knives, dual kniving.
Dual wielding to the downside.
Yes, it is.
Actually, this is the support area right here, 1350, right? This area from yesterday seems to be the low where we did bounce. We want to hold that here today.
Speaking of bounce, it looks like
Tesla
NAOB is trying to do that as well. 200 EMA on the 5-minute still on its way along with all the other ones. That's going to be at about 435, but it's making its way up there. Nice bounce off this 405 level I have.
Yep. Amanda, thanks. I love that unusual option activity view, but I'm in a Zoom meeting and I'm out of screens to watch. I got your back. The fact that you're even multitasking in order to be here, that means the world to all of us. No prob. NAOV might be bound. And then the other thing here, we had KJL bus. I don't know what that means, but you were mentioning Palantir. You wanted to take a look at that earlier. Palantir is coming in a little bit here, but nothing. This is basically nothing, especially given the move that we saw yesterday. I don't think there's anything I can really take away from this yet. I haven't seen anything notable on the option flow for Palantir yet, but that is likely to change, I would guess. Kids in NAOV. ZCAR is open. Let me go to it. Thank you. Good shout. Here we go on ZCAR.
Yep.
Try 1192 your high print there. We'll see if this ends up popping it.
It's holding VWAP at the moment.
I didn't take any of this into the halt either.
So it went down and got support from the highs from the pre-market. So we could see this get going over 12 here. There it goes.
Right through those highs. 1240, your new high now. And I'll go to it here in a sec. I know some of you folks are looking at Tesla and more new highs here on ZCAR. 1253. Tesla is approaching that 290 area. That was a key spot. See if we get above it, but we're watching ZCAR go ham right now. Jared saying Z-Car average price of $72 must be piles of bags looking to get out. Not sure where you're getting that data from, but my God, if people's average price on this is 72, I mean that you're not kidding about the bags, Jared. Wow.
Almost 13. 1297 was the high print. Really it's starting to get a little bit of a spread here in the price.
Yeah, now the volume sticks still look good, but unless we challenge that 1297 high again, I think we're probably looking at a pullback here. Yeah, there we go. A little bit of a grind higher. We'll see there. Jay mentioning Hood, big fade. Not seeing any fade yet in the market. 559, 562 was our pre-market high. Market still holding here about plus 1%. SPY's up 0.92%. Same with S&P futures. Hood giving everything back. My God, going red.
Could see a big drop in the SPY if it loses 559. Maybe all the way down to about 5750. It could go down.
Okay, my SQQQ calls obliterated. So if we do get a big move down there in the Qs, maybe those will come back. I'll see what happens when I land today.
Core Weave trying to get support from the 65 EMA. Bull trying to recapture 14. NAOV did have a nice move off that 405 right up to the 200 EMA that I was mentioning earlier. Still trying to get past that. Once it does, you have the 65 EMA in the way. That's going to be at about 460. And looking around, Z-Car popped up to 1320, came back in. Now it's trying to hold above it, still moving up.
And if it, 13, when it gives those pops higher here, it tells you that it's just not quite like they're still figuring out where this thing wants to go. It's when it really can't take those highs off a huge extended move where it starts to come back in. The stock up 210% now.
Vroom, vroom, Z-Car.
So it's funny. I last time I went to go pick up Lou Malnati's, I parked behind a BMW, a newer one. I don't know exactly what year, but a newer one. I think 2024, BMW M440, and the license plate said "I Vroom," and I was like, "That's a good vanity plate. That is a good vanity plate. I like that. I like creative. I'm trying to think of a vanity plate for myself." Anne Marie saying we could consolidate today. Anne Marie, you think we consolidate kind of right where we're at? You have a specific level you think we can consolidate at? I'll be honest though. Let's go back to the big chart here. So sorry.
Just pointing out Z-Car. It might try to push up into new highs. We're just we're right there, right about the high of the day. So just keep an eye on it, and it might happen here. There it is, new highs.
Boom, 1333, 1347. We're going to keep printing new highs. I'll check back in on this in a sec. Anne-Marie, your comment about consolidation to me is extremely interesting. The reason I asked about the level is because if we consolidate right where we're at, a consolidation above this 50-day moving average that we just crossed, I have no other way to construe that other than bullish. I would think that that's great. We've had a huge move off the 20% pullback level. We've now eclipsed the 10% pullback level to the upside. Consolidation above this 50-day moving average sets the stage for us to maybe test and close above that 200-day. That would be, I would view that as a positive. I would view that as a positive.
Z-Car is halted now?
1360 looks to be your halt price. Indeed, good call on that one.
Amanda was asking for some levels on Microsoft.
Okay.
So one interesting level that we almost got to this morning was 440. That's one of the earlier ones I see here. But candle today, I mean, this thing is just, it's a shooting star candle that's really a huge gap. Could end up filling it, but I don't know how long it's going to take. Might not be for a while if it does happen. If this comes back in, I do like the 200-day SMA. That's going to have a value of 414.29. There's also a potential area where you could exit if you're, if we're looking for the downside here. 26 and a quarter, maybe. That looks kind of interesting. Maybe 27, but I'd still like to see this get as high as 445 before we start seeing some resistance. And I'm getting that area from this trend line that I have going when I drew from the highs of July last year through the high of December of last year. And if we keep that trend line going, about 445 is where the price would top out and hit that line again. I don't know if you want to draw it, Ryan.
No, Amanda here said, I need to plan my exit on my Microsoft 415 short.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you want more downside levels?
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, honestly, like maybe if this thing does come back into the 200 and holds there, I don't know if we're going to get that though.
Yeah, I mean,
I've got until June and I will definitely let it sit. I think I can roll this and add a put for a credit.
I mean, 400 looks like a pretty awesome spot too. Let's see. There's some areas beneath it that might be even better, like 395, 396. I also like 384, and I can't really put an exact price on this, but the area between 365 to 375, there's consolidation in there that might create a bit of a demand zone. So keep that area in mind as well. Hope those help out.
Okay, I'm going to flip back to the main workspace here. Zcar still halted. Looks like CEP is getting some more mentions. 48.75. We're getting up to Barry the Goat's $50 price target. Barry the Goat's kicking ass and taking names on the tennis courts and in the markets. We'll take that. NAOV, this is another one you folks are looking at. This might be bouncing. Let's see if we can take out that VWAP 477, your VWAP target. Kids getting mentioned here by Daniel. Good morning, Daniel.
Kids trying to recapture its VWAP.
I've got it at the VWAP.
Yeah, it's been holding up ever since it dropped this morning. Seems to be getting some support around the 215 to 220 area. That's where it seems the buyers are. If they're going to move this thing over, we need to see some much better volume than this. Has not been able to recapture VWAP since it lost it.
Our head of content just pinged me on Slack, letting me know about the article that I shared with you folks about the group correctly predicting Tesla earnings. Take a bow. I love it when we are right as a whole. That just chef's kiss.
CEP breaking through 50, almost hit 51.
Barry the Goat. We call this a top spin serve ace in the business.
There's
what
51.
A call. What a call.
Yeah, I'm afraid to touch it now, but well done. Oh, look at that move in E2. Just blasted right through the 65 EMA. Not really moving fast at all, but it just had a nice big breakout move. New high of the regular session.
I've got VWAP there at 253, and it looks like we're approaching it. The one thing that I'm noticing here is that the volume is not continuing to expand. Zcar is open, folks. These are 5 minutes halt. Zcar, first move here was higher, 1390 to high print. We're going to go higher, 14 on deck here, it looks like. 1394. Ooh, that was dirty. That was a new for 1399, 14, 20, and 30. And there we go through 14. Okay, folks.
Now, still it looks like with
wow.
The series...
Now I'm wishing I did grab this one.
Wow, there you go. Hey, we got some good movers here this morning. We got CEP moving. We got Zcar zooming. E2 is now getting going here. This is making its way through all the pre-market price action. High of the pre-market, if this was pre-market, on the open, we got 290. We're 40 cents away from there. Looks like Kids is trying to recapture its VWAP as well.
Zcar going for a 16 handle now. This can look, folks. If you're in this, if you did officially get this one, please make sure you're paying yourself into this move. This is a huge stocks up 283%. Rules, folks. Rules. Risk management should always be number one instead of the big dollar signs. We're going to halt here 1592 if this holds. Bid is building. Pausing for dramatic effect. And halted. There we go. I didn't want to make an early call.
Wow.
I really didn't want. What a move here in Zcar. Congratulations to everyone that was on this one. Unreal.
Okay, so we got Zcar halted, CEP, that's still ripping, 52.50 now. This thing just really taken off.
That is in. I feel bad. Look, sometimes you make mistakes. And my biggest mistakes this year have been a couple of things that y'all folks have had conviction about that I haven't taken. Man, oh man, this could be an even better year than it's been if I had taken those.
Kids going now. Kids just blasted through its VWAP. This might get going here. 270 is the high of the pre-market. See if it what happens there. Yeah, Zcar halted, absolutely.
Crow says it's 2025, Ryan. We need 1,000% bangers. Crow, hold my beer. We gonna find them. We gonna find them. Don't you worry about that. We are setting up for some monster stuff here, I think, later this year. By the way, Shake Shack, this reported earnings here. This actually went down, then went red-green, pulling back a little bit here. I'll say this, Shake Shack, I looked at this, and when Shake Shack first came to the market, I was like, look, if Shake Shack can be $70 to $100, Portillo's is a $100 stock. That, of course, never materialized. Shake Shack still getting it crushed here. Looks like we're going to try and test 100 here. Shake Shack pulled back to the VWAP. Yep. Watch the volume here. You actually might get another move higher.
Kids waking up. The kids are out of bed, says Anthony. So we're looking at potentially 270 here. Man, all the movers this morning are doing really well.
Yeah, we just got to be patient. This is another reason why we shouldn't mess around when the movers are no good. Don't force the trade, right? Don't force it. Wait for it to come.
Look at that move in kids.
And it came to you today. And I think this is going to halt here at 283, isn't it?
Oh, it's halting. It's going to halt. Actually, they're still moving it.
Yeah, it actually pulled off of that. Jane, done for the day. Time to paint porch rails.
Nice.
That sounds awesome. Love to, man. So I'm going to go to the washroom. I'll be right back. But I have the biggest home improvement dub from yesterday that I'll tell you folks about. Well, I'm going to leave kids up here, okay? The ticker KIDZ, BRB.
All right, so looking around here, CEP, that's now it just printed 53.10, pulled off that a little bit. So, be a little bit careful with this one. This has gone on a bit of a run. Could see a bit of pullback here before it sets up for its next move if there is one. Well done in CEP, everybody that was trading it. That was awesome. NAOV, this one is one of the movers from this morning. It looks like hasn't quite gone yet, but it's starting to get ready to. Keep an eye on this one for a move, a sustained move over the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. I think that could be the signal we need for this to really get going. Not the greatest volume as far as relative to the other movers, but nice move off of $4. Let's see if we can if it keeps going. Zcar still halted, just shy of 16. That was amazing. Kids still now. This is halted 283. E2. This one had a nice move through its VWAP and the 65 EMA. Might not be finished. Need to see some better volume than this. It had great volume 5 minutes ago. Maybe this goes on to hit 255 before it runs into this little bit stiffer resistance. We'll see. Webull, that went down to 1309, trying to rebound now. Don't know if this is done selling. How far away are we from the VWAP and TQQQ here?
I'm glad you're looking at the broader market, 13, because the first thing I saw when I sat down is that this market sure looks like it's trying to print some new highs here.
Yeah, and well, oh wait, this is bull that I'm looking at still. Let's see here. Yeah, not too far away from VWAP on these. They were kind of oscillating right now, back and forth. So we need to see some extension away from that first before I decide to take a trade in it. Okay, so NAOV, still waiting for that to do something.
Still waiting for Zcar to open here. Yep.
Waiting for kids to halt as well. E2. This is still moving up. Might make a new session high here.
NVNI, that's a penny. That might be turning up here.
Crow mentioning Newsmax, Webcoin mentioning Finger.
Yo, MPW. Remember the medical properties REIT that we talked about yesterday? Tim, let's go higher here.
Yeah. Gosh, who was Chuck is going to be absolutely loving it if he decided to take a position in that, because he was asking about some long-term dividend plays, right?
Yes, he was. I believe Chuck is here with us this morning too.
Oh.
Chuck, I think, also had a slew of winners.
There we go.
On his in his port. Jane here saying it's a warm Virginia morning is a perfect time to do that. So let me tell you really, what do you got? What do you got?
Zcar unhalted, it dropped, and then it halted into the drop. So just want
okay, downside halt here, 14.18. Okay, so real quick here. Got I love this. First of all, I'm a huge fan of anyone that tries to learn things and work on their own home in order to save money and all of that stuff. So the fact that Jane, you're taking time out of your day to paint your porch rails, I think is awesome. So I in my bedroom, I've got these windows that slide horizontally. Okay. And I'm on the third floor and the window will not close, right? The windows have like a catch, right? Like they go like this and they're supposed to catch. Well, my window is bowed out, so they don't catch and as a result, they don't seal. I thought to myself, instead of replacing the windows, which I definitely should do at some point, I was like, if I could push on the window from the outside, I bet I could get that catch to engage and get the sealant that I'm looking for sound and air conditioning, etc. But I'm on the third floor. How are you going to push the window from the outside from being on the third floor? You can't.
Ladder.
Oh. And I said, well, yes, I don't have one, but I guess that could have worked. I thought to myself, how about pulling the window from the inside? How would you do that? An industrial grade suction cup. That's how you would do that. So I went on Amazon. Sure enough, they have them and they're awesome. Makes me feel like a superhero that can actually scale the Sears Tower. I basically stuck this bad boy on the window, pumped up the handle, pulled the window and got the window closed to lock. Oh my God. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And it was, oh man, like I said, the suction cups, like that makes me feel like I can scale a building.
That's what I was thinking when you were talking about this industrial grade suction cups. I was like, oh God, his neighbors are going to see Ryan just like scaling the side of his building.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, if my neighbor could have seen, he'd have been like, what the hell is going on in that unit over there? That is wild. By the way, while we're babbling here about suction cups, CEP printing almost 56. Did we get 56? Yes.
Yeah.
56 prints on CEP. Wild that it continues to go higher.
Higher now, 56.47. Higher. 56.55. Don't chase, folks. Don't be the one that's going to get caught holding the bag if it pulls here, because this has been a very nice move that's been having. RSI on this time frame, very extended. Got to anticipate that there's going to be some pulling at some point.
Tom, the suction cups were $35, but I'm going to reuse those for other applications. Amanda suggested using a plunger. The plunger has been used for other things, so didn't want to stick that on my window. We'll just leave it at that. Here's your kids chart.
Yeah, kids open, popped up to 355. Not sure how much more is going to be in this, but that was a really nice unhalt. Got rewarded off that. Yeah, I don't have anything else.
That's it for the movers here.
That's really it, yeah.
The bear gold ETF starting to perk here. This is the miners for Dust. J-Dust, I believe, is also the junior gold miners. These printing here, Matt Maley has talked about kind of trading some of these in the past before. I wonder if he's in some of those now.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, what was the day that I was saying we were talking about this? It was like last week, wasn't it? That was the bottom.
Yeah, it was.
Whatever the day it was where we hit 3,500 in the spot price of gold that morning, that was your signal.
And that was what the chart said, right? For the actual gold commodity, it said 3,500 was probably the top there.
I didn't get it from a chart. That's just what I was looking at as
okay. No, that's what I mean. I thought you were looking at the chart and being like, the top looks like it's right in here.
No, I was thinking the 3,500, just that nice round figure, because it would have been. There's a lot of reasons for it, but it would have been very extended, and as soon as we hit that, the price of gold turned around. And you have to look at some of these charts for gold to see how super extended they were. And one of the ETFs I was thinking that could be a really good short play would be DULL, the 3x inverse leveraged. That one that was up about 7% today.
Crow giving us GDXD. This is going to be your 3x levered inverse ETF for that. And it also has a low price. You can really kind of load up on that.
There's another good one. But this is specifically the miners.
Yeah. It was pretty much 3,500 for that gold top. Very very close. It's still very elevated here at 32.24. Thank you, Ryan.
$9.
CEP continues to rip higher here. Wow.
$9 looks to be a good resistance area for GDXD.
I'm going to share what the producer just gave us here because it's just really great. Here, producer, when producer doesn't have a whole bunch of stuff to like track, producer makes really funny things. This is what he did recently.
I think the caption of that is Ryan getting home.
I like actually get anxious looking at that just because it's so high up. Like that just I know it's just
or
wow.
Okay, it's like a Spider-Man movie poster. It's like Faloona, some way home. Or a way home.
Market is pulling here, the entire market. Now NASDAQ is actually leading the pull down. NASDAQ's still up by 1.3% here. Man, what is NASDAQ? Let me go to the Qs here. This chart is volatile right now.
No positions.
Yeah, how are we doing with some of these SQ? Because this might be something to take a look at here today.
We're just okay, so we are bouncing around that 559 and 561 range I was talking about half hour yesterday. So that's already happening. Need to see which way we break out of this range, and that could be the direction we go for the remainder of the day, or at least until we get super extended away from that range.
Probably need like a sharp pullback here of about 3 or 4 points to really kind of set up a TQQQ entry, by the way. Not sure. Quantum Vortex asking a very interesting question. What brand of suction cups were they? I'll have to look it up. They were probably Chinese, and there was they were like $35. So I'm not really sure if the tariffs really affected it. Let me see if I can get you an actual brand there.
Okay.
Market now returning back to the lows there. So here you go on TQQQ. So what is something going on that I'm missing? Maybe I'll do the suction cup thing here in a sec. Let me see.
ISM manufacturing, maybe.
Yeah, we just got that. Yeah, ISM. Okay, so here you go. ISM manufacturing PMI for April, 48.7 versus the 48 estimate. The prior read was 49. That's pretty much in line. ISM manufacturing prices for April, 69.8 versus the 72.9 estimate. That's a little light there. USA ISM manufacturing equipment for April, 46.5 versus the 44.7 prior read on that. And then the construction spending for March month over month, -0.5 versus a 0.2 estimate. The prior read was +0.6. It was the manufacturing miss. Ivan agrees.
The construction spending miss?
I think so.
Because we've been talking about how we were thinking that we might see a lot more infrastructure build out, and that's kind of flies in the face of that idea.
Yeah. Now, do you think that the fact that it was, might we see that peak back up in April? Because we're getting the March print right now.
Right. So I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to read through on that too.
Yeah, because we're talking like Liberation Month is going to be the next print, so I don't know what I would expect out of that. That's good. STFU. I just flattened everything. I don't trust this bullshit. Oh man, it's like you're my conscience almost. Yep, still trading around in this range, 559 and 561. Whichever direction we break out of this range, that could be the direction we go for a good portion of the day, maybe the whole day.
I understand where STFU is coming from because this is volatile. This is actually fairly wild. We are going back and forth here too.
Yeah. Yeah, I said no positions. I meant it. Even CEP is starting to pull off its big moves. Like it put in a high of 57.20. We're down to 54 now, which admittedly you could see that in a matter of seconds with this stock, but still it's off the highs.
What else we got here?
Kids still kind of hanging out here above 3. ZCAR down to VWAP. If it bounced off VWAP, could make another move up, but it's starting to look questionable.
I don't really see anything great out there.
Absolutely, Pete. This has been great. I've enjoyed all the market price action since Liberation Day. It's been providing a lot of great trading.
I was going to say, for people that are active, isn't this what you want?
Oh yeah.
Isn't this what you want? Mm-hmm. And I tell you what, Matt Maley, that's what he wanted. ZCAR open here lower still now. 12 prints, 13 is it's trying to hold in there. Let me put ZCAR up on the screen. For those of you that are still trading it here, I would be careful with this one. Volume has also significantly died off here.
Bonds are selling, so CA Forestman. Well, ZCAR still holding that view up. Let's see if it can. It's not looking great. Kids still holding 3. I just don't know if I want to touch anything at the moment.
Anthony saying, done for the day, made some money back off ZCAR, genius levels. Way to go.
Excellent.
Way to go.
Excellent stuff.
Way to go.
Well, if I don't even want to try and trade it for the resistance because it could break out here.
Kids, however, looks like this might be trying to break out.
It's holding above 3. That's
yep.
good.
Yep.
If it can continue to do that, there may be another push up to that 355 high. Just need to make sure the volume matches it.
How's Apple doing ahead of earnings here? Okay, relatively mundane action there. How about Amazon? Izzy, is this dip buyable here in Amazon?
Let's look at Amazon. You're almost to an area that I would consider to be a pretty significant resistance. You have the 50-day SMA bearing down on you, and 192 looks important.
Yeah, for just kind of a dip and move higher here. I don't know if the market's going to move higher from where it's at. 562 seems to be the spot that stopped it.
Getting a series of upper shadows here in kids. Be careful with this one. I'm not saying this is done, but it's just starting to print some candles here that don't look very strong. They look a little bearish.
Izzy saying that the market has been up for too many days. Doesn't look like you're scalping Amazon there. By the way, Izzy, how long do you think before Uber is $100?
E2. That just another high a day. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine. Uber does feel like $100 stock the more I watch it here. Here's your E2 as we just crossed that VWAP. And actually, we're trying to build above it here.
ZCAR getting support from VWAP. That's trying to fill the gap it was just created from this.
Yep, was just thinking the same thing.
1425 could be the resistance area at the moment. That's about where the gap fills. Got to 1405.
End of summer, Izzy? Okay. There's a trade there. I think I'm in a position for that. Nothing yet. I'll fill you in when I do, but I think Uber does go for 100 here. End of summer sounds about right to me.
When's their earnings report following the end of summer?
Let me get you all of their earnings reports. So next one here is next week, May 7th. 6 days from now. Now, the one after that projected here for August 5th. Last year, we did it on August 6th. So do you consider that the end of summer? Are we still in the dregs of summer there in August? Do we want to look for the October report? That's more fall. Should be around Halloween.
Oh, look at Z-Car. I think it just went right to that gap fill. So we're looking for, I think we're looking for 418. Got up to 415. Whew, that's so close. That was really nice. Nice gap fill there. But let's, so for August, that doesn't, I don't think that really covers, it's not going to include enough of the summer months. So I'd probably think maybe
so October. The October report,
yeah,
then.
I would think so, yeah.
And then the other thing that we would be thinking about with that is it would probably be the October contract that we'd want to look at for a potential options play if we're going to, although I might just hold stock for that.
Z-Car keeps going. Build that gap and more. Fantastic. And it looks like CEP getting mentioned by STFU. That's still coming up as well. Ivan, you're mentioning Dollar General had a dead cat bounce. You think we're going down here? Looks like if there is going to be some support, it's going to be closer to maybe 85, 86, 85. You know, it can. I'm not trading this. This is a long-term investment for me, so it can do all this BS for a while if it wants. CEP is trying to get to the session high of 57.20, not too far away.
I don't think Z-Car's done, by the way. No position, so it's easy for me to say that.
Yeah, it looks like it still has gas in the tank.
Damn it, 13. Damn it. You can't go wrong with Uber. You know it'll be 100. The more I think about it, the more I'm about to use Uber today. And I'm with you on that. I do think we see 100. I do think we see that there, Izzy.
Imagine the stock price if they do replace Uber drivers with autonomous vehicles. Because isn't that kind of the thing that they're trying to get into right now is self-driving vehicles for their fleet?
Yeah, hopefully I'll still have the choice. But yes, you bring up a good point. Advanced to decliners, by the way, positive 937. That number has done nothing but creep up from the open. I don't see any crazy tick here. It looks like the opening print tick was 1100. I'd like to see more sustained ticks above 1,000 in either direction.
We're getting some more moves in Z-Car. Looks like it's trying. It's going to, if it takes 15 here, I wouldn't be surprised if it went for 16. Here we go. Past 15. Looks
1592 is the high print.
Almost looked like it was starting to halt there. So you're getting a consolidation of bids at 1549. But it is still above 15.
CoreWeave, man, I know I don't want to make too early of a call here, but how good were the levels by Adam Mesh given to us last week regarding I think it was a condor he had on CoreWeave, basically needed this stock to stay under 46 by the expiry. And I think that expiry is around the corner here.
Starting to lose 15.
I'm going to ask him about that next time we see him. Sorry, 13. Here's your Z-Carb.
It looks like E2 pulled beneath VWAP now. Kids also polling, so those upper shadows weren't telling you incorrectly. They were telling you that the sellers were really starting to step in. Back down to VWAP now, kids. Maybe if it gets support here at VWAP and goes sideways for a bit, it might get enough buyers to step in and take out those sellers. We'll see.
Jay bringing up a really good point. I think Barry mentioned this earlier. CEP options are out now, so it's had this huge run here to 57. Might be worth maybe hedging that with some options here to the downside. God, are they expensive? 200, just kind of using Anne-Marie's trick of looking at the implied volatility there in the chain. The May chain, 242%. Those premiums are jacked. It is the estimate, the market maker's telling you there is a $23.50 move by the expiry. It's half the stock price.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there, Steve. Until they start coming out with like some autonomous off-road vehicles, how cool would that be? Oh man.
Chris
This was
asking
fun.
about hymns. How long before hymns retest the spike from Tuesday? Okay, so first of all, Chris, the two candles that we have here so far, both are helpful. In my opinion, 13. I'd love to get your opinion on this. It sure looks like these bottom wicks here. If you zoom in, it would be especially true if we continue to make higher lows on these wicks. We really want to complete a curl here. You know what else might affect this here? Well, we had Eli Lilly earnings this morning, so maybe not. I can't tell you exactly how long. I would say as long as we continue to curl back up here, we'd really like to see us get above 33.90. We could do that. That'd be even great. I would say probably by next week if this pattern continues. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I would say maybe by next week. What do you think, 13?
Interesting you mentioned 33.90 because I'm looking at the 50-day SMA and that's at 33.82. I think that's going to have to be one of the biggest things that you're going to need to see is the price to start closing over that 50-day SMA. You can see that we did pop up to it recently. It opened above it, but could not close above it, and that has been the case ever since. So I think once you start getting some closes over the 50-day SMA, there's a much greater chance that it'll go back up to that price you had before. That the high from the Tuesday price action, also at $38, where the price opened, just beneath where the price or just above where the price opened at. I'm sorry, that was a resistance area that you can draw a horizontal line at and look to the left. And the last time it had a run in March, went right up to that same area. Yep. So 38 is going to be a pretty important level to watch for.
Bingo.
And I think there's also a bit of a trend line that you could draw if you want. But I think the two things that I'd be watching for is a recapture of that 50-day SMA and a break over that $38 level that has been getting resistance for a couple months now.
Zcar was not done. New highs. Here we go. Zcar.
Oh, nice. So it switched to its reserve tank, it looks like.
Or it just went to hybrid mode and went electric.
Hybrid mode. There you go. 1666. That's the high of the day now.
Oh, you superstitious folk, get ready. 1666.
Looks like Bitcoin is making some moves as well. It's 96,781 is the high I have for Bitcoin this morning. That was printed just before we opened, and then we opened and sold off. So let's get back up to over 96,750.
CEP might be trying for some new highs here as well. I do like the idea of hedging CEP with some puts. I actually like the idea of just kind of trading some CEP by buying some puts here.
At this stage with CEP, I like the idea of just sitting on my hands and watching people make money. It's fine if they do. Don't care if I don't. I'd rather not get caught in this thing, and I don't like how choppy it is. And look at the spreads in this thing now. We have new highs now, so you're getting rewarded. I don't mind just watching this. This has been great. CP did make me some good money earlier this last month. It can do whatever it wants. I'm fine with it.
Okay, Zcar, new highs and then a pull.
Congratulations, everybody who was trading CEP. I'm really happy.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we have to dole out a lot of congratulations here this morning because we had people holding earnings, massive earnings winners overnight. We had CEP, we had Zcar, we had kids at one point go. I mean, we had a lot of stuff really rolling today from the things that we prepared. Even APLD, isn't this a popular one amongst the group?
Thought so.
Yeah, and I mean, even this is having a decent day. Lion here saying he's looking for some CEP puts. Let me know what you look into, Lion. I'd be interested in that. I'm looking for that too. I didn't fill anything yet, but I am looking into that. And Izzy, you had mentioned earlier that we had that Ondas rip. We actually had a huge volume spike on that too. And I don't know if any of you saw that, but Jake Wujastic had reached out to the CEO over the weekend about the kind of the piss poor price action, and he really reaffirmed that he had to be very careful about what he said, but he reaffirmed that he's not worried to look ahead to the next earnings. So that's what I'm trying to do. Love that the CEO talks to people on X. I think that's extremely helpful. Thanked him for it, by the
way. Daisy V is mentioning Zoom. This is not the platform that we use.
So ZOOM.
Yeah, this is different. I don't, unless you are talking about, because I thought ZOOM was a ticker. That company must no longer exist anymore. But Zoom Communications is ZM, and that is doing a whole lot of nothing this morning, about flat on the day. If that's what you were looking for, Daisy V.
Chris here saying the USD keeps pushing, so I have to think that the TLT is going to bottom out soon. Let me tell you something, folks. The TLT, the move, we talked about this with Tim and Anne Marie a couple of weeks back. The trade here on TLT was to hold the TLT in the low 80s up to like 86 and then just sell calls against this above the 200-day. And that thing has worked on repeat. Let me know where you think the bottom is in the TLT, Chris. I'd be interested in that because I might set this up here too.
E2 trying to get back over its VWAP. Remember, this is the one that has the really large float, and we haven't really gotten a whole lot out of this one this morning. The price action that we've had here, when we opened, we were, it was under 228. The high was 260. So you're looking at like a 32-cent range here in the entire price action of this stock all day. This is just not really something we were, you could get some trades out of this. I think I may have gotten one. I traded several things today, but this just doesn't have enough movement and enough range in the price action. It's no CEP, but it's just been kind of slow all morning for this one.
Okay, Lion here thinking the 35 contract for May, that gives us 15 days to expiry. You're looking at about a $3 buy there for the CEP short. That's the put, right? $3. Implied volatility is 240, but I think you're right on the contract there. I mean, the 170, I tell you what, the $30 contract doesn't even look that bad either. That's way cheaper. 25-point pullback in 15 days.
I was asked, I think it was Izzy. Yeah, Izzy 13, bull and demand zone. So the demand zone, if I'm looking at some smaller time frames here, even in the large ones, it looks like all the really big demand zones were underneath $12. A lot of this consolidation, sideways consolidation, going back before April. Now, if I'm looking at a smaller time frame today, the low was 1309, and I don't see really any price action underneath that, aside from that consolidation I just mentioned prior to Liberation Day. So where we're coming up to now looks more of a supply zone where resistance is, where we're going to see resistance, and that's going to be from about 1375 till about 1450. All this consolidation going back to what was this, Tuesday? A lot of sideways consolidation that's created this supply zone. So we're coming up to that right now. And I would think that if we cannot, meaningfully get into this or get through it, go back up to 1450, we're going to probably end up heading lower in bull. And I look at the 5-minute chart, and that is a pretty not great looking bear flag. That's being formed on in the 5-minute chart right now. So I'm not bullish on bull. I think this could go lower.
Real quick here, Lion, I did take a little bit. I took some of the 30 call. I took that one that was I paid 160 for those contracts. So I did take a little bit of that CEP short. I don't feel great about this right now. We'll see if I'll check back in on this tomorrow. I do have 2 tweets here for you real quick. First of all, Anne Marie here says sellers caught on their back foot today easily could drive the market higher. I completely agree with Anne Marie Band. And actually, this is something that I saw yesterday, I believe, at night while I was watching the incredible hockey games. And I completely agree with this too. Emery, let me know what you think here. This is regarding yesterday. The Bears absolutely botched yesterday. Talk about a grand opportunity to take some yardage back. And with that, the evidence clearly continues to show that we have likely put in a bottom. I know this is not a popular opinion. This is where I sit right now. And until something changes, I'm gonna remain here. I also really quickly have a timeline cleanse for you folks. For those of you that need a smile, check out this tweet. This is a border collie working from home. I saw this and I was like, that's funny and it's cute. I'll share it with the group. All right. I love Ian. Me too. Dude is smarter than I, and I will continue to try to learn from him, Anne Marie.
If E2, excuse me, if E2 is going to have some more upside today, it probably will be very slow. I don't want to say that it couldn't get back up to some of these pre-market highs, but if it is going to get back up there, I don't think it's going to be with any kind of quickness or haste. Float just seems too large for something like that to happen, especially as we are approaching the 10:30 time where folks start to move up and away from their desks. So not sure how that price action is going to look with E2, but I'm not going to say that it couldn't get back up to some of these pre-market highs. Just I think if it does, it's going to be slow. Kids tried to get back up to the session high of 355, only got as high as 350.
Okay, there you go, Anne Marie. Pete saying, thinking the bottom is in might be insane, or I might be. It's up for debate. Pete, this, to me, I could summarize this by saying this is exactly what makes a market. And this is why we're seeing the volatility in here. Like I said, I would rather people make predictions and then say, you know what, I was wrong, or make a prediction and say, there we go, than instead of just kind of waiting for it to happen and being like, see. So I'm okay. Being wrong, we say it here all the time. It's an old adage. It's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong. That's where I'm at there.
Yeah, and one of the things I've been waiting for was to get over 555 and the 50-day SMA. We did that today, both of that. So if we continue to trade up here, then I'm starting to lean more toward the bottom being in, but I still want to see some more close above this level because I'm on the side that I don't think the bottom is in. But the more confirmations I get on the technical side, the more I'm thinking that it could be. So just to I think next week will tell us if the bottom is in or not, because we have that FOMC rate decision.
We might have, that's a good point. We also might have a better feeling of that today when we get some of these monster earnings reports. Kids, whoever called kids, Britt, think you were calling this. Izzy called this. There were a number of you trading this. STFU calling this. Y'all folks that were on KIDZ here, way to go.
Wow.
This thing did end up resolving higher. We've had 3 impulse moves on this here today. Buying the pullback on this was the move. Kids 4+, Webcoin, Crow. James, this is it. This might be the comment of the day. Whatever happens, happens. You're exactly right, James. And what we're going to try to do is whatever happens, we're going to try and make some sense out of it and try and turn it into profit. We're going to try to do that with every possible tool we have at our disposal.
If you want, draw a trend line on the top side of kids.
Yep.
And that kind of gives you like somewhere between 415 and 420, where the price is going to end up hitting this trend line if it continues to trade up. So that $4 plus, not a bad call whatsoever, especially when this trend line is telling you that the price could still get up to 415, 420 before it hits this resistance. So
really good stuff there, KIDZ.
Yeah, great job.
Holla. Yes. Holla. Let's go.
Oh man, you can tell the weekend's almost over. She's getting ready. She's getting ready for this weekend to be over.
Every day that we see people excited in here is really good. And shout out Today is my synthetic Friday. And that's a really good reminder. So I've been mentioning this before. I am going to visit my friend in Arkansas for his birthday. I will not be around tomorrow, but we will still have a show. Please, everyone, thank 13. Smash the like for 13. Also, smash the like for Kevin, who's graciously decided to fill in for me tomorrow, so we don't even have to miss a beat. I've got Kevin up to speed with my Benzinga Pro layout, so everything should be the same. 13's going to be here. So please, if you do nothing, well, give us the likes, obviously, but also please be nice to Kevin tomorrow.
And let's show him how much fun we have here on PreMarket Playbook, because we have the greatest chat. Let's show him what we're talking about, because I think he's gonna enjoy himself here. The only hope for the market to go up is the chat.
I also have to shout out Crow here real quick on something. Let me find it, and then I'm going to shout Crow out.
So, Lion, I don't think that they're going to cut the rate this next meeting.
Me either.
I've been saying
no change in that.
Yeah, been saying that for a very long time. Don't see that being the case quite yet, especially with that PCE and GDP print that kind of stoked some stagflation fears. So I don't think they do anything, but I think it's going to be important to watch what Powell's comments are. Not his statement on the rate decision, but after that. See if he sounds hawkish or dovish. I think that's going to be the bigger indicator, because we're not getting the rate changes this time.
Good morning, Florida Yacht Insurance Guy. Also here, Crow, you had said earlier the Senators are going down. So first of all, the Battle of Ontario, I believe, is going to conclude tonight. I'm also rooting for Toronto. My friend was asking me if spaghetti was going to be okay for dinner, as if I was going to show up at his house and be like, I can't have this dinner that you prepared for me. Come on. Plus, I love spaghetti. But what I said was that the big thing that we need to make sure that we have a television available for Toronto, Ottawa tonight. I'm going to be locked in rooting for the Maple Leafs, Crow.
You tell him it's fine as long as he grates your pepper and cheese for you onto your plate and asks you, "Is that plenty, sir?"
I'm going to have him put a little Parmesan cheese on the salad too.
Lion, I'm of the thought that the bottom is not quite in yet. That's the side I'm on right now. But like I said, the more that these technicals are showing me that we are, what they're showing me is that it seems less and less likely. But I'm still on the side that we may still see a lower print. Just want to get through this week and next week, and then I'll probably have a better opinion on what the market's going to do. But I really want to see what happens with this rate decision.
Joshua saying this is hands down the best live trading channel I've ever been a part of. This is hands down one of my favorite comments ever. That's great. Joshua, the one thing I will add to this, let me know if you have any feedback, because despite the nice things that you folks say, we are always trying to get better. 2% every day is the way I live my life, and I apply that to all these other things. I'm not supposed to say this, but I don't think either producer is in a position to fire me. So F it. We're just going to say it. We have some changes coming here to the stream for both graphical that I think you all are really going to like. So keep the feedback coming. We will keep trying to tailor this to make it better and better and better for you. We'll also try and make it fun. I promise you. I know sometimes financial media can be dry and scary. That is not our goal here. We are going to have fun in addition to making some money there. Harder for me to get that one.
Jay Rice saying disagrees with me. That's fine, because the points he's making are absolutely right. Oil is way down. I don't think every other country is lowering rates yet. I think there's some have made decisions, but I think a lot of countries are waiting to see what we're going to do. China slowdown, yeah, that's happening. There's a case to be made for the Fed to cut. I just don't think it's going to be quite yet. And the Fed is very, very slow. They're late to every party. So there's that to consider as well. But your points are absolutely 100% right. I just really, like I said, I want to get through this week and next week, and then I think I'll have a better idea of where we're going. But your point's absolutely right. Totally agree with those.
Yeah, and I completely agree with your point that the Fed is always late. Like that's not like a new thing. That's likely going to happen again. I think the whole spat with Trump. I mean, everyone knows Trump has a big mouth. Come on, and I think that part of that spat was that he is trying to get him to do something early. I think they realized that Jay Powell isn't really going to bend on that. Ryan here saying short-term yields indicate Fed needs to cut soon? Question mark. I have mixed feelings on it. Ryan, I kind of do too, because I think the tariff thing is one thing, but I actually think the worst possible thing would be entrenched inflation. And if we cut rates too soon and inflation kicks back up and really gets bad and then becomes entrenched, then we got real problems on our hands. And so I'm mixed on that. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. I got my fingers crossed. Remember, glass half full, but I understand where you're coming from there, and I can totally appreciate that.
I
can
like
totally
this.
appreciate that.
I like this question from Daniel. What do you think about holding if you got in the market around 49? I'm assuming you mean SPY. I'd be wondering why you're asking me if you're managing to catch the bottom of Liberation Day, because that was on April 7th when we printed that, and we have not seen that print yet. So I guess I'd be wondering why you want my advice when you so easily, so well caught the lowest one of the lowest prints of this market that we're in right now. Number two, I also wonder, how old are you? Because if you caught that bottom and you're holding this, hold it for a long time, because the SPY is likely going to continue to move higher over the years. And if you're still a young man, that might be a really good position to hold for the long term. If you're not so young, I don't know. That's something I think you'd have a better discussion with your financial advisor on whether or not you want to make taxable gains. So if you have some, I think getting at that price, if you're just trading, you're killing it. Take profit where it makes sense. I couldn't exactly tell you, but if that were me and I was in this, I'd probably be holding on to it for a very long time.
Yeah, so I love the idea of holding. One of the other things we've talked about here with SPY is that if you're dollar cost averaging SPY over the long term, it's hard for me to see a losing scenario there, right? Even if the market does trade down for a year, the fact if it's, like if you're, like 13 was saying, if you're young and you're going to be in this for a while, I still think inevitably you're going to make money. One of the other things to consider here with SPY is that the more you have of this, the more flexible you can be just in your day-to-day life. Let's say you had a couple of thousand shares of this, or excuse me, a couple of hundred shares of this that you had built up over the long term on SPY. You run into an emergency, don't have a lot of cash on hand. One of the things that you could do, sell some upside calls against your SPY. All right. If SPY comes in, you collect that premium. You never have to pay it back. If SPY trades up, your shares get called away at a profit. You can handle your emergency in the meantime, and then you can take that money and redeploy a dollar cost average, going forward here. So there's a lot that you can do with that. I agree with 13. I think if you're hitting dead bottom prints in this, probably, and you're young, probably the best idea is to hang on to that. But at the end of the day, maybe consult a financial advisor. I think that's never a bad idea, right? Talk to someone that's a fiduciary.
Oh, okay. So a little more clarity here. Not the SPY per se, but more like the top SPY stocks like Intel, Amazon, Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, stocks that follow SPY closely. Individual names, there's a little bit more nuance in that.
Absolutely.
I would say, because I'm looking at something like, let's say, Microsoft versus Apple. Microsoft doesn't have anywhere near the exposure to China that Apple does, and I think that makes Apple a little bit more risky than Microsoft does. But that's my opinion. So even if you were buying those names down when the market was there, it should still be doing phenomenal. But to what Ryan just said, absolutely something that you'd want to discuss with your financial advisor on whether or not you're going to want to take some of those taxable gains or not. But well done on your buying. Like, man, you nailed that bottom.
Pays to be active.
Yeah. Lots of comments to catch up in here, but
yeah, it just really, really good, really, really good participation across the group. This is why I love this community so much. You guys take jokes, tell jokes, and then also have really great questions and serious, cogent analysis. And definitely love that.
Yeah, we're weaving it. We're weaving all that through. Jay Rice, you're saying that housing going to get better rents. All those illegals ain't driving rent prices up. So I do agree that housing is going to get better, but the influx of illegal immigration that we've had has caused rent prices to rise, particularly in New York, because they're all being funded by different states to their housing is to stay there. So it's particularly a problem in New York. But I think that they are moving the needle pretty significantly with rent prices because governments have had to step in and provide housing for some of these, huge swaths of illegal immigrants.
With as far as the housing goes, I'm really interested to see what housing looks like if interest rates start to make a meaningful move down. And we spend a lot of time talking about when we might see cuts and how long it might take, and it might take a while, and that's fine. But I'd be really curious to see what housing does here. The one thing I will say, just from looking around, talking to my friends and stuff, in the Midwest here, housing prices are not going down. Okay, they're not going down. They continue to appreciate.
And James Wong saying economic policies have been have a lagging effect. If the data turned out bad, it'd take a bit to be a bit late to interfere. No, well, so that's kind of, I think you're referring to how the Fed reacts to economic reports and policies. They're always going to be slow. They've always lagged. I'm sorry if I'm not grasping the question, but I think what you're asking is, if a policy takes effect, doesn't it take some time for it to work its way through the system before we can make any changes if we start to see something turn badly? Yes, it does. Like, here's an example. Like, when it comes to rates, if we get a rate cut next week, it will probably take about anywhere from 9 to 12 months for the effects of those rates to be felt throughout the entire economy. It takes time for some of these things to work out. So if the point is economic policies having a lagging effect, yes, absolutely they do.
Real quick here, Ryan, enjoy your day off. Thank you, Dr. Manred. I'm going to be playing golf, so it's going to be hard to not enjoy it. Joshua was asking, Ryan, did you go to school for finance or did you learn on the streets like I'm doing? This is actually a really good question. When I was a kid, I thought I was going to play in the NHL. I had a rude awakening in high school when I realized it's just not good enough and I'm not talented enough to do that. Saw Wall Street. That was it for me. I knew that I was going to be a part of the business world after seeing that movie. In college, I actually majored in management with a minor in finance. I will say this, though, and I've been consistent about this. I have learned more about markets and trading from YouTube University than I have from any textbook. Also, caveat there, folks with multiple decades of experience, they have been one of the best resources for me. So to answer your question, Josh, I've learned a majority of what I've learned on the streets. And that's why I like the position that I'm in, because I feel like I wasn't in some finance, college or fraternity or have all these connections. I was a regular dude, just like you folks are trying to do. There you go.
Z-Car just made a new high, 1680 now. It was kind of going back and forth there for a little bit.
Told you this wasn't done.
It's not done.
You buy Anacott steel, Ryan, short blue horseshoe. Am I right?
Edwards, we were talking about how home valuations and supposedly rent as well now is dropping in Florida because that market's getting hammered over the inability to insure it at a low cost. People want to probably live in an area where they don't have to rebuild every few years. So that's really hammering. And people are leaving Florida in droves, or at least they were. I don't know what the situation is like now, but
it seemed like a lot of those pandemic destinations got hit. I saw a report recently that Austin was down 22% on new home sales. That was definitely a pandemic oasis there. Yeah. CoreWeave, look at this, break to new highs here. Ooh. Almost going to 48 on CoreWeave.
CoreWeave, Z-Car. Let's see what other.
Good morning, Voodoo. Great to see you.
Hey, Voodoo, how you doing? Looking for, hey, let's see if Kids ends up doing something too. That's still trading above its VWAP. Careful, though. The MACD looks like it wants to roll over here. gosh, there was another one that we were trading. Oh yeah, how's CEP doing? Still not able to get back up to the high. What's Bull up to? So that's still trying to curl back up. This had a bear flag, maybe invalidating here. We'll see. It has to still get through all this supply zone that we were talking about earlier, this consolidation from the pre-market and after hours.
U.S. votes to end California's ban on gasoline-powered cars. That didn't take long. Amanda here saying, I am decidedly not trying to be a regular dude. Okay, probably for the best. Probably for the best. Lion here saying the street is the best teacher. When you get slapped hard left and right, you learn quickly. Honestly, the school of hard knocks, that there's a lot to be said about that. Sorry, 13.
No worries. It's just one of the. I don't know if you ever saw the movie The 13th Warrior, but there's always a line that sticks in my head because I thought it was hilarious, it's just something that's I've applied to real life. But you remember, if you've ever seen it, you remember the part where Antonio Banderas' character is sailing along with these Vikings, and he doesn't know the language, but he just kind of sits there and just listens to what they're saying and tries to learn the language just by listening. And so at one point he starts speaking the language, and all the Vikings are looking at him like, how do you know how to speak like us? And he just looks at them and goes, I listened. So I thought that was just the best quote out of that movie. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to apply that. I'm going to listen more. And listening does get you a long way. So
I've never seen that movie. Now I feel like I have to. That's actually great.
No, I wouldn't give it the highest marks, but that one particular scene I thought was great.
But that life lesson is great. That life lesson is great. By the way, Jay, earlier you had said, how about that odd report? Man, oh man. Like, I wish this was more on my radar, because that pullback and move to highs here, this would have been a no stress trade. You're almost always in profit. Call this the feed up trade. Now you're getting a little bit more continuation here. Here's my issue. Here's the breakout on oddity. And again, this is more of the GLP-1 angle. How much more room is left here, do you think? Or do you think this too was also maybe ripe for a pullback? Keenan Nokel, God, I love that YouTube handle so much. I was told a long time ago, 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. I too have heard that. I too have heard that. That's good.
Crow is saying that's what I call transitioning 13. Well, I don't know if we can really use that today. But I get what you're saying.
I'm not even going to touch that one. ZCAR 17, higher we go. Kids, oh my gosh.
Oh, the kids are up.
It almost went right to the trend line that you had me draw earlier.
Yeah, so it almost did. But I think we drew that trend line after it already had made that move.
Didn't? Are you sure? Didn't we connect it through just these two? Maybe.
But
you might be right.
It's still above VWAP, so there's still that chance. Just the MACD is saying something else, but as long as it's above VWAP, there's always that possibility.
Forgot about this. Reddit also reports after hours here today. Reddit actually running into this report up 5.5%. Is anyone trading Reddit on this report? I don't feel good about this one. I haven't felt good about this from the beginning, and I especially don't want to see it run into the report. Anyone got Reddit here for today? Currently at 123, RDDT.
Let's see here. ZCAR might go to 19 if this trend can be trusted. Some folks mentioning NAOV. Is that doing something? It looks like it's trying to get back above its the 200 EMA.
Seeing Meta calls getting bought here, Meta curling like it might try to go back towards the highs.
That's interesting, Crow. China would be selling off their gold soon. I mean, they still have treasuries they can sell too.
How much Bitcoin can they sell? Asking for a friend. KIDZ, this might not be done either. Where's Smoke Tuna? We needed him today. Red Dog has Reddit. Yeah, we asked him about that yesterday. He said he liked that.
So we don't have any
Sorry.
closes above 332 in kids on the for this session. We do have some really high prints, but the highest close that we have on this 5-minute chart is going to be 332. Let's get past that and start closing above that level.
Jay, love this. I've noticed names with good earnings get bought on any weakness. Now, Odd, Spotify, Netflix. That's something to keep in mind there. So if you start seeing any of these good reports and you get a bit of a pullback, you actually might be getting an invitation to maybe buy that, even if it's just for a short term. Get in there, 13.
So what was the company that reported yesterday that looked like it had good earnings, but it went lower? I think that was, I know one of them was
It was Qualcomm. It was Qualcomm. It was QCOM.
Yeah, one of them was Qualcomm. And I think, let's see, we identified there being a possible reason for this. Hold on one second. Okay, so it was the range of their guidance that was the concern, because when we were talking about how when we have a range of that size, analysts tend to go with the lower end of the range. And if that's kind of like a good distance away from the estimates, then they may view that as more bearish and bullish. And I think that's what we ended up seeing, because it was that range in the Q3 forecast that I think pulled it down. But that would be, I think that could be one of the ones that maybe it's worth picking up. I mean, what do you think, Jay? Do you think QCOM could be one of those?
And by the way, just the great, I would love to hear what Jay has to say about this, but we actually also talked about this potentially sinking a little bit more. And I think one of the other things that we came up with here on the chart was that this is probably a decent buy area in that low 120, right? That's right in here. Bingo. So right in here, this is where this thing really bottomed out before, right above 100. But this spot right here, this low 120, this previous support from 2021, also kind of a consolidation area, and the recent support, I think that this is probably 120, 125, probably not a bad spot to add Qualcomm here. I'd like to know what Jay thinks about this, though. Did you think that this was a decent report? I think Qualcomm has an Intel problem. Lack of innovation. You saw it with MCHP and a few others. Okay.
Gotcha. Zcar, by the way, just printed 18. This is making its way up to the trend line I just drew. If it's going to touch this trend line, then it'll print 19.
James, Sorry, I thought you were done and I got a little too excited there. James also bringing us another really good one. This didn't come from last night, but rather from this morning. Lilly down 7% on earnings. This actually took another leg lower right out of the open, but it's since held in there. They had the Lilly CEO on CNBC this morning. He said, today is a great day to buy the stock. I mean, I'm sure any day is a great day for somebody to buy his stock. But nonetheless, if you think GLP-1s are going to continue to proliferate here, and we're in the early innings here, I have a hard time saying that Lilly is not a good buy. And after a 7% haircut, maybe that's the spot.
I thought that one of the really big names to buy off of their earnings, which were on, hold on a second, they just had their earnings on March 6th. Was Broadcom. That went down all the way to what is this low here? 139 and change, and now it's almost back up to 200. And that was let's see, the low was back was less than a month ago. So in less than 30 days, it's gone from under 140 to almost 200. That's fantastic.
Also, I mean, look what this thing did. Broadcom, by the way, the 50. Where are we at? We should be death crossing today, but with the price above that and maybe moving higher here, maybe you're not going to get that.
Let's see. One thing that really does look good. I mean, it didn't quite touch it, but we came pretty dang close to the 500-day SMA.
Chris here, this is interesting. Intel, Qualcomm have the same issue. Company leaders get old and rich and lose that eye of the tiger. You know, you're not the first person that has said that. We've kind of talked about that. We talked about that a lot with Stay Focused when we were talking about Intel really kind of having to turn the ship around. That's actually not a bad point. Someone asked about Twilio earlier. Well, while we're here, I'm just trying to go back and make sure we hit everything here. We just got about 8 minutes left until the weekend starts for me. Twilio here, right at the 50-day moving average. We really want to see this get above and close above the 50-day moving average, but just kind of going back to our discussion here about whether or not the bottom is in. Pretty decent formation here, and it does look like it's trying to hold 200. We even tried to back test that a little bit. So honestly, a Twilio swing long on a break above the 50 here, maybe a break above 100 too. I could see it. Now they report earnings here today, so I don't know. I don't have a thought on what the print is going to be or whether or not you should play the print, but we'll see here. Twilio, this actually looks like this might be turning around.
I'd like a horizontal line at 101.
Pete here talking about the Lilly PE being at 40. Well, I can understand that. Don't you think that the GLP-1 angle, along with the rest of their robust pipeline, is going to allow that to be that high or maybe even higher for some time?
Oh, thanks, James. He's going to look into QCOM. He's from South Dakota.
Okay.
Be nice to have more eyes on that.
TEM is moving. We talked about that one earlier here. Tempest AI. Spot to really watch there is going to be 57, I think. This is moving to the highs. Watch that pop here above the pre-market high. Boy, it tried to do that on good volume. That was a good mention. Good mention there.
$60 is a pretty interesting level. If we, I do like this setup here in TEM. That move, I know we mentioned it earlier, but the more I look at it, the more it looks interesting. So I got to think that with how we bounced off that 50 and 200-day SMA, there could be a real good chance this runs to 60.
They report earnings in 5 days, next Tuesday after the market closes. We'll be back together before then.
I don't know what it's going to do when it reports earnings or when it hits 60, but it really does look like 60 is in the cards in a short period of time. It's just what it looks like. All right. So what's we're not halted, but ZCAR did go up to 18. I was looking for 19. It went up to 18. That is pulling big time now. Still above VWAP.
This is ZCAR, right?
This is ZCAR. Looks like it's running out of Z gas. And at some point,
I'll tell you what, that 15 EMA though, that's really, look, we've kind of ridden above that all day here today. 1478, that line in the sand. Anand is asking, you guys use simple or EMA? It depends what we're looking at. We actually use both. Right now, the chart that you're looking at has EMAs because I'm looking internally. I'm looking at the intraday chart. But that big chart that you see me flip to, these lines here, these are all simple moving averages. If you ever need us to clarify that, please do it. We just know we use both.
Oh, you're right, STF. He could be from San Diego. You're right.
Whoa, Carvana calls.
I use EMAs for day trading. I use SMAs for longer time frames, particularly days, weeks, months.
Yep. Carvana, by the way, seeing some call flow here. These are the calls that expire today and next week. The one, tomorrow and next week, 5/2 and 5/09. Those are 250 to 270 on those strike prices there for Carvana.
Okay. Sorry, I know we're almost out of time here, but real quick,
all good.
Bitcoin, we're about to hit the high from this morning, 96,781. We're almost there. We just made a new high just right now. I got to think that there's going to be some kind of price action happening here that's going to see an increase in volume. Maybe either go on a run after making this move over here, or we start to pull back in. Waiting to see what happens here. But I think it looks like it may move higher, possibly up into 97,000.
Hey, Smoke Tuna. Bonjour, Smoke Tuna. I cited you a few times here today. If you would please hit the like button, that would be very, very kind of you. Nice to see ZCAR Run was in the MCAI model list. That's good to know. Smoke Tuna, the other thing that we got here is we got multiple stocks that did put in 100% moves here. We actually had KIDZ, which had 100% move in the pre-market.
Yeah, and it's still moving right now.
And it's up 200% right now, absolutely. So to your point there about some of that bullishness, when we see some of those runners, we had multiple on deck here today.
Yeah, very nice change in the movers list because it was looking a little boring earlier this week. So
And it wasn't giving us a lot of follow through.
No.
Like those last couple of days, like I hit a trade early out of the gate, and then I just was like, nah, unless I got a TQQQ set up.
No, it's been a good day today.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, it has. Nothing after us, by the way. Let me double check the schedule before the producer slaps me.
Sure.
I don't see anything on the schedule. So I think we're done here in 3 minutes. But we're not done for the week. Be sure to come back. Support Kevin and 13 as they take you through a Friday there. Be sure to smash up the like today and yesterday. Oh, excuse me, today and tomorrow.
Yeah, just waiting for something to happen here in the stock. Looks like there's a little bit of exhaustion here. Still see the TQQQ moving up. Got to think that the SQQQ is going to start to provide an opportunity here. We're not really that extended away yet. Looks like we are, let's see, only 50 cents away from VWAP and SQQQ. So this needs to fall a lot further. But I'm going to be trading for the rest of the day. It'll probably be these directional ETFs unless we get these movers from this morning to start giving us that price action we were seeing in the afternoon, like CEP was doing and some of those other ones. Like we've been saying, they get tired and people move away from their desks to go have lunch and they come back, they start trading better. We should see some of these names provide some more opportunities in the afternoon.
I'll be watching CEP here today as we did take some puts on this here today. Probably that's my only trade, right? Yeah.
Kids, Crow is saying kids $4 any moment now.
Oh, it just disappeared off the.
Maybe with a break. List. Maybe with a break over 355, 360, perhaps. Yeah, like this. Just kind of like how this is doing.
So Joshua asking here, how do you protect yourself when jumping into something like kids, which has already had 100% gains in the market? The easiest way for me to answer this, obviously each situation is different, but the easiest way for me to answer this is a tight and well thought out stop. Now, I will say sometimes I get stopped out of something too early and then the stock goes. That's something you have to be ready for here. Generally speaking, I try to focus on an entry near a support level so that I can set a tight stop without being flushed. New HODs here on the market is continuing to rip. My God. My goodness. And to Anne-Marie's point there earlier, it definitely seems like the bears were kind of caught offside here today. We are on a move. We are 10 points away from testing that 200-day moving average. All right.
So real quick, we broke through that. Remember that range in SPY, 559 to 561? We were trading inside of that all morning, and whatever way we broke out of it was the way we're going to head. We broke out to the upside. That's where we're going now. 565. And 16 cents is the next previous all-time high we're heading for right now. So that's what I'm looking at. Looking for more upside. And now we can go. It's 10 o'clock. Have a wonderful rest of your day, folks. This has been a great morning. Look at Bitcoin move. That breakout looked great. Hit 97,000. That's the actual high print right now is 97,001 cents exactly.
Okay, real quickly here, I'm going to answer this last question and then we are for real off here. Do you have a members only channel? Yes, and it actually comes with a members only jacket. Just kidding. But do you have a members only channel that you'll continue live all day or do you just do live in the morning? The show is only in the morning, but folks, Benzinga Pro has a number of different chat channels. 13 and I exclusively pretty much hang out in the happy hour one. 13 is actually a mod of this channel as well. So yes, we do this all day, but the live show is only here in the morning. Folks, really good stuff here today. Thanks again, 13. Thanks again, Pete. Glad you had a great morning. Again, folks, I'm not going to be here tomorrow. Please make sure to be nice to Kevin and 13. 13, any closing words for the group?
Hey. Great day today, folks. Hope you all made some great, good money. I know a lot of you did. We'll be back here tomorrow with Kevin. We'll make some more money. It'll be a good time. Have a good day, everybody. I'll see you then. Take care.
Sounds good, 13. Take care. Have a great rest of your day, folks. Thanks, everyone, for all of your support here, all of the really good stuff. Thank you for smashing up the like. Please keep doing that. That's very helpful for us. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. I will try and go as low as I can on the golf course. We'll be back here on